Thank you, Amin. So on the screen right now, we are in Shakil's screen, and what we can see a subscription here. I can see, we can see his name. So in order to see that if it is the right subscription, it is the right subscription, I can just click here on the top right side, and here we can see the name, and also we can see the email. And if I go to my account info, so here we can see other information, okay, and services and subscription. It seems good. I mean, it is good. This is how it is.
How did you identify the subscription?
Yeah, it's not here. It's not here. I'll show you where it is. So I'm just looking at other properties. So this is just simple properties. I'm going to go back here. So the subscription, we can see there are few ways. So I still have to go through this. So I'll take this opportunity to just go through here on the screen. So guys, once you have an account, and let me see. So guys, I need more and more interaction, please. We'll be going through many labs here, and I think I requested everyone to create an account and subscription and share a screenshot. So
there is subscription ID below free trial. Is it correct?
Yes. So I'm going to go through this. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. I'll go through this all at the moment. In a moment. Okay. So guys, nobody other than Shakil, no one was able to share. I think there is one more person who shared on WhatsApp. So probably maybe the time is too short between yesterday and today, and you were not able to get the time. Yes, Ashar also shared a screenshot. So please, for before the next lecture, complete all of the labs. Today we are going to complete a very important labs in this training. So we need more and more interaction. Okay. So this is the console. This is the console here right now, and we are on the console. So the very first thing is subscription. So Shakil already went to the subscription. So the way we navigate on the screen, guys, the way we navigate on the screen is like this. So very first time when you log in, you will be on the home page. So you will be on this page, home page, and on this page I can see that there is a subscription, but every time you don't see subscription right here. So sometimes you need to search. So this search right at the top here, you can type anything, whatever you're looking for. So this is my favorite place. This is actually Azure admin or architect's favorite place, because this search is very convenient, very easy. So all you need to type is subscription, and then it can take you there. And once you're here, once you're on this screen, then the most recent apps will be here. The most recent apps will be here. So this is one thing. And secondly, we can also go to the subscription from here as well. So this menu on this side, these are the most frequently used applications. And here you can see all the services. Here you can see all resources in use. And if you want to make this favorite, so favorite means the most frequently used applications are all on this side. So we can go to, you can search and go to here, or you can go to search all services, and here you can search for any application and make it favorite. So that's three ways to go to this. These are three ways, and here you can just pin it as well. And the fourth way around this is I can go back here on the home, and we can create our dashboards here as well. So for example, we have 3 different departments, and 3 different people need to access this. And 3 different people need to access this. We can go to the dashboard, and within the dashboard we can also pin that place where we need to go every day. So I mean, this is so convenient. So by looks of this, so I'm gonna make sure that if this subscription is fine and everything looks great, so here we can go back to home. So whenever you're lost in this, always go back to home. and then start again. So this will become more and more convenient every day. So here you can see this is a free trial subscription, and this is the subscription ID, and this is the admin account. For now, the cost is 0 because no services are used at the moment, and the subscription is active as well. So Shakil, your subscription is fine, and it's excellent. Okay, so I'll disconnect. I'll disconnect from this. Yes, please go ahead.
1 minute. I created
Yes.
two virtual machines. One I created, and then it was automatically configured with 4 CPUs. I was trying to create a second one. It didn't work. It didn't let me go. So I deleted that. Then I created another one which is only with 1 CPU. So this one
Right.
is using.
Okay. Yes. So everyone, excuse me, everyone, the question is that Shakil created first one VM with 4 CPU, and then he was not able to create anything. So with a free subscription, the limit is 3 CPUs. So you can create 3 VMs with 1 each CPU. 4 VMs with 1 each CPU, or you can create 1 VM with 4 CPUs. So that's a limit on VMs in for the free subscription. So that is why you were not able to create any other VMs.
Great.
Okay.
Now
So yes, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I opened an account and I'm on a subscription, but my screen doesn't show active. So what I'm not doing?
Okay. So your screen is not showing active, and it's a free subscription.
Right. It's showing Azure subscription 1 and subscription ID. Its role says owner, but I don't. Did I do anything wrong?
Okay,
because
I will.
Doesn't say owner.
Yeah, it says admin. It says admin. No problem. I will check your subscription as well. Just do you have TeamViewer?
Okay, 1 second.
Before you switch,
yes.
Adnan, there was one more question actually. I was trying to look for SQL, which is an Azure version, and then when I tried to do that, it says, your email ID has already been used for free subscription. So probably it didn't allow to put that SQL version of Azure.
Right. Guys, if you actually I didn't get the question. Just a second. Guys, put your mics on mute. Everyone, I would request put your mic on mute. If you don't have a question, you can always ask a question by unmuting your mic. Thank you. Okay. So Shaki, can you repeat your question again?
Okay. See, the way we have created an Azure account, I prepared one virtual machine and was trying to download the SQL Server 2019.
Right.
Then it gave me the option, like you can have an Azure free trial for that as well. When I tried to do the subscription for that, it says, oh, this email ID has already been used. You cannot use this for free subscription. So I believe maybe when this is already used, maybe in this subscription itself, can we add, like, you have opened already. Can we add this Azure database for SQL servers?
Yeah, in this free subscription, you can add a SQL database, SQL server. Yes, you can.
Okay. So you don't have to have a separate subscription for that. We can add it.
No. In free subscription for 30 days with 120, was it 120 credit or 200 credit?
260 thing, but I think it's showing 200 now.
Okay, 200 credit. Yes, you should be able to do everything. And there is a full chapter on this. So we'll have to go, we'll go through this with SQL databases, everything. We'll cover everything. Okay, very good. So I'm gonna close this. So guys, the first 15 minutes we review everything, and if you have any issues, we connect to your lab and then try to fix the confusions and errors as well. Okay.
Couple of just quick questions with regards to the
yes,
subscription.
please.
So
yes.
The account.
Yes, correct.
The email address and the password that I'm using to log into the portal is different than the subscription. My question is, so let's say if I want to share my my subscription currently, which is a free trial, with somebody else, I don't necessarily need to give them the access of my email and password.
No, not at all. What we can do is we can give them a guest access with their own ID, so they can log into the subscription and they can, and then you can allow services, whatever services you want them to use.
Okay. Like the reason I'm asking is, let's say tomorrow if I deploy something in with the cloud, and then I want to share resources, like I may not necessarily be the admin managing it, but I have an employee who I want to give full access.
Right. Yeah, this can be done for sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks. So subscription is different than the account itself. Giving access to subscription.
Yes. Subscription is different from the account. And within the subscription, we can create as many users as we like, and then we can give them different type of access. But the first account, the owner of the account is a very, very important account. In all of the companies, we keep that account with maybe the CEO, maybe the IT manager, depending on, so that account is only with 1% or 2% maximum. Because that account has the enterprise access, and you don't want to give that account to anyone.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So that's what my question was at. Like that's the master account, the account, which has access to pretty much everything.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Okay. So my question was, how many of you were able to create a subscription? Here I get an answer. So guys, please, next time when you log in, please log in with the name within Join Me. If you cannot rename your user ID, it might be good that if you can just close the link and open the link again, it will ask you for the name. So viewer 20 Riaz, okay, I'll try to remember. Viewer 20 is Riaz. Riaz, you were not able to create the subscription, but you did open an account. Okay, that is fine. And Asher, you created a subscription, excellent. And Viewer 20 is saying he's not on the WhatsApp group. Okay, so Amin Bhai, if you're online, please note these queries and contact the guys and add them to the group. We have Ajmal. Okay, so Ajmal asked the question, and then okay, and what else? Okay, so Ajmal asked the question, how do we create a management account on top of the subscription? Yes, management account access will go through that as well. Once we are on the Active Directory chapter, we will go into, because that requires more details in terms of user IDs and their access and different type of subscription and all that. Okay, so on the screen, everyone, so one question that I wanted to ask everyone is, and I'm going to open this question and we can decide that at the end of this lecture, that Friday night and Sunday night, is it good for everyone? For some of the students, they have requested that there should be one day in between. And so if let's say if most of the people agree, we can have it on Friday evening and Sunday evening. Friday evening and Sunday evening, that will give you one complete day of doing the labs, or we can keep it as is, whatever is decided. I think this has been decided before based on everybody's agreement. Okay, so this we can decide right at the end. Okay, and any other question, anyone, before we can start?
आप मैसेजेस लिखने के लिए मैसेज पे भेजा भी था, अभी मैसेज फिर से भेजा हूं कि मैं क्लास के बाद बताता हूं आपको चेक करके.
Okay, yes, please go ahead.
ठीक है, मैं क्लास के बाद चेक करके बताता हूं.
Shakil, your mic is on.
Sorry, I mean my call actually. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, everyone, let's begin. So from yesterday, let's quickly go through this, and I will come back to this subscription. Before that, we need to quickly review what we have covered. This is day 2 of this exciting training. I'm saying that it's exciting because guys, this is really easy. Cloud management is easy, but the thing is there are two important things within the cloud that we need to understand, and in all of the technologies that we need to understand the concepts. Number one, the concepts are very, very important. You understand the concept and then spend your time with the labs. Okay. So yesterday we covered cloud computing technology. Just a second. And please put your mic on mute if you don't have a question. Okay, so here we are on the whiteboard. So actually, you know, I will create a document here, and I would request everyone, I think somebody just joined, and I would request everyone to put your mic on mute. So if you have a question, you're most welcome to unmute your mic. Okay, so this is, guys, day 2, cloud management training. So what we have covered so far. So we have covered understanding cloud computing from yesterday, number 1. Within cloud computing, we understood there are 3 cloud models, and one is public cloud, second private cloud, and third hybrid cloud. And likewise, we also learned cloud offerings. We also cover cloud offerings, which is, I call them packages. And those are IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So these are basic cloud offerings. Most of the clients start from IaaS. So once they are new, they mostly start from IaaS. So here I'm going to say most clients start with this option in cloud. So guys, yes.
Information infrastructure as a service.
Okay, so that's fine. So I mean, I am expecting that you guys have reviewed the notes, and you should have. I mean, this should be like on your fingertips, but I'll write that here for sure.
No worries. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service, number 1. Number 2 is platform as a service. Number 3, and number 3, software as a service. So about this as a service, guys, these are all different type of cloud offerings, okay? But as a service is not limited to just these three. The as a service is now expanded. There are many things that are that are available in cloud which are sold as a service. So, for example, here I'm just using them as an example. So, for example, there is BaaS, which is backup as a service. Then there is storage, which is storage as a service, which is storage as a service, and that is referred to as SST. And then there are many other things. So this is just for information that there are other things as well. But everything starts from these three options, which is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So the next thing that we discussed was Azure as cloud platforms. So the cloud, and these all cloud offerings are being offered by public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and IaaS and PaaS and SaaS. These are common for all cloud providers. So cloud providers, just like MSPs, so there is something, these companies that first of all, we have major cloud providers, which are Azure, number 2, AWS, and number 3, there is, guys, put your mic on mute, and so Azure, AWS, and GCP. So these are major cloud providers. And under these cloud providers, we have some other companies that are called GCPs. Those are called cloud service providers, CSPs. So cloud service providers. Now, who are these people? These are those people that are partner to these big companies. For example, I mean, you might have heard a name called MSPs. So before CSPs, there used to be MSPs. Actually, MSPs are still there now. MSPs are those, and MSPs are managed service providers. So MSPs are managed. MSPs are managed service providers, and CSPs are cloud service providers. CSPs are those people that are in contract with Microsoft Azure, AWS, GCP, and those companies that hire us, that hire Azure admins, that hire there are partner organizations to these big companies. So we are more interested. After this training, we are more interested in getting a job with these guys as CSPs, cloud service providers. So cloud service providers are those companies. So I would say these are partner companies, partner organizations. And you will find the CSPs throughout the world. There are many CSPs, and just like managed service providers. Okay. So after that, we discussed. So this is from yesterday, everyone. We covered understanding cloud computing, cloud models, public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, then cloud offerings, packages, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. And then there are a few others, which are backup as a service, storage as a service. Then there is cloud providers are these major cloud providers. I would say these are major cloud providers, Azure, AWS, GCP, and then there are these partner companies that work with these cloud providers, where we are more interested in getting. Actually, we are more interested in getting a job in these three, but it's this is their criteria of selecting employees, selecting people is a very what do you call? It's not hard, but their criteria is strict. Going with these companies, but we are happy with CSPs as well. So, I mean, I'm using these terminologies so that you can remember, and whenever in interviews or in discussion, you should know that the terminologies is there, CSPs and MSPs. Okay, so the next one we discussed with Microsoft Azure infrastructure. Microsoft Azure infrastructure starts with regions, and under the regions there are availability zones, availability zone, and under availability zones, we have, what is it? Clusters? We have clusters. Under clusters, we have servers. So I'm going to go with Fabric. Guys, this is from yesterday. So if you remember anything out of, out of your memory, you can keep typing in the chat window as well. I mean, this is your own review as well. So if you remember, you're most welcome to use the chat window. Keep writing it. You can ask questions in the chat window, or it's like you're just being part of this this review. So yes, it's
before cluster, there's a data center.
Right. Very good. Before cluster, there is data centers, data center 1, data center 2, then there are cluster, fabric controller, then under that there are servers. Okay, and under servers are connected to
orchestrator,
and then there is yes, then there is web API, and then there is portal. Very good. So, and we discussed this, and after that we discussed what else did we discuss yesterday? So we discussed also yes, we discussed that as soon as you log into the portal, so after logging in, so account creation in Azure. We discussed account creation in Azure, and you create subscription. We create subscription, and under the subscription, once we log in, so log into Azure, the very first thing we do is create a resource group. So under that, there is resource group, and then there are resources. So guys, this is what we have discussed yesterday, and today is a new day, and we are starting again. So we're moving forward, and so this is a review from yesterday. Now today's topic is very, very important. So today's topic is all about virtual machines. So this is day 2 of this training, guys. I would request, excellent, everyone has put their mic on mute if you can. So whenever you are disconnected, you can reconnect, and please put your mic on mute. Sorry, you put your mic on mute, and then you can always ask a question within the chat window, and you can ask a question. You can ask a question in the chat window, or you can unmute you and ask a question as well. Okay, and Usher asked a question: Are Fabric controller physical or software objects? Fabric controllers are physical. So the Fabric controllers that we discussed that are sitting right at the top of the servers, those are physical controllers, and those are hardware. So and in the networking, you will be introduced more to the Fabric controller. Okay, and then Syed asked the question: what about the Azure geographies? So geography is actually not an entity that you see anywhere. Geography is just like continents. So it's just like a continent. Everything it revolves around regions. So the very first entity is region, and then the second, so it starts from a region, and geography is just for own understanding. Microsoft or cloud providers' own understanding with geography. Are you in North America? Are you in Australia, or are you in Europe, and all that? But geography, it doesn't come in selection. So when we create a VM, the very first thing it will ask that in which region you are. So that is why it's not mentioned here. Okay, so we discussed subscription and resources. Today we will be covering a very important topic, and that is compute and VMs. I hope that everyone is taking notes as well. And so at the end of this lecture, you need to share notes with me. This is the second day, and from this day, all the class rules are applying. Please be more and more interactive. Because at the end of the training, guys, this will all be like a huge big information if we don't take it seriously. I mean, a lot of information, but so the idea is that if we in order to understand these three technologies, guys, in order to understand these three technologies, the best and easiest way is spend these 4 hours with me. So let's say 4 hours or 3.5 hours, we will see that where we get exhausted. As an instructor, as a teacher, as a trainer, I know I can understand that where we are getting overflow of information, or you can let me know that this is good for one day. But I want you to take notes. So in order to get the best out of this lecture, take notes. Number one. Number two, keep your eyes on the job market. That after completing this training, you will be going into the cloud market. For that reason, it makes it more realistic in order to stay attentive in this training. So I know that we're sitting at home and there are a lot of things here. Okay, so for my last request, I get a very few responses in the WhatsApp chat group. I understand most of you are not in the chat group. I would ask Amin Bhai to add you all in the chat group. And then the WhatsApp group, and I need the screenshots, I need the notes as well. Okay. So guys, here subscriptions are being organized. This is from yesterday. Subscriptions are being organized into the management group. So there is a root management group. Then we can create more management group based on, this is just an example. We can create, under a management group, we can directly create a subscription. And under a subscription, we can create our network. But this is for large organizations and the flexibility for all these organizations where they can, basically they can have more management groups, and under management group, they can create their own structure. Now, so Microsoft has provided this flexibility that where you can create a structure like this. But guys, always remember, in IT, while architecting, designing, or managing, even from a small company to a large company, we follow the concept of KISS, which is keep it simple and stupid. So we need to keep it simple and so the word is stupid. Keep it simple, very, very simple. The reason behind this is the more entities you create, the more administration you would need to do. And more administration means that you would need to hire more people to manage the infrastructure, and one day it will be out of control. So even the large companies, so I'll give you an example of my last contract in Middle East, the same example that I quoted yesterday, and it's a big company with with 5 universities under this one company, and with one management account. So one management account, and then all other are one management account, and all other are subscriptions. So University 1, University 2, University 3, University 4, and University 5. So, I mean, the more it is manageable when it's simple. But in this case, if let's say people start making management groups as departments as well, and then under that another subscription, then it is more and more administration. So once you reach to that level of architecting, then you will understand. And even Microsoft would say, we need to consolidate all this, and that requires more time and more efforts as well. So I will share with you a real design document as well later on, once at the end of the training. Guys, I would like to share everything that I have from my experience, but the special goodies will be for those who are completing all of the labs, who are dedicating their time here with complete. I mean, obviously I cannot be very, very strict. We are all professionals here. And if you are in this training and I'm dedicating my time, you're dedicating your time, I'm just keep on saying that I'm really, really sorry, but I didn't get a response from yesterday, and I want to get a good response in the next lecture. Okay, so viewer 20, Riaz is asking a question. What is a full for EA? It is enterprise agreement. So it is enterprise agreement is EA subscription. This is enterprise agreement. You can name it anything. So they basically, enterprise agreement comes from the enterprise agreement of Microsoft. So EA stands for this. So here, and so another way, keep it in our photo memory, or maybe in a document, the document that I'm creating, and I will share this notes document here as well with all of you. And you should be creating your own document as well. If you're creating it, or if you're making notes on the book, it's fine. So management group, subscription, resource group, and resources. Okay, so now we are on this slide, and this is the most important slide, and the most, if you're able to understand this, if you are able to understand this complete structure, I mean, there are many different structures available on Google, but I found this the easiest way to explain and remember, not only to explain and remember remember the compute resource. Okay, in order to be an expert in the cloud. Okay, just a second here. And okay, in order to be an expert, so today we are starting with today's lecture. So review is done, and day 2 starts. So day 2. In the day 2, very first thing, so I'm gonna say how to become an expert in cloud management. How to cloud management. So guys, we need to first of all start this journey with becoming an expert in 3 areas. So 3 areas being compute. We need to be an expert of compute, number 1, and number 2, storage, and number 3, networking. So these are the 3 main areas. These are the 3 vital signs. Just like doctors use the term vital signs. Look at the person. If somebody is in an accident, look at the vital signs. So these are 3 major areas that we need to become an expert. So the first area, today we are discussing this first area, and all of the services are connected to these 3 things. So number 1, compute, storage, and networking. And is this a new information for us? Guys, it's not a new information for us, because these are the 3 main areas by which we buy all our laptops, by which we buy our smartphone. These are the 3 main areas by which we buy our tablets as well. So you go to a computer store and you're looking for a notebook or a laptop. These are the 3 things that everybody will ask you. Okay, how much CPU? What should be a speed of your laptop? So CPU, number 1. Number 2, memory, and number 3 is network. And number 3 is actually it's memory and the disk. So memory and the disk, I mean, I'm just taking an example of laptop. So, I mean, we are already in sync with these 3 important technologies. So compute is also always refers to as CPU plus memory. So CPU plus memory of the computer, and then storage always refers to a disk, and networking also always refers to what type of network is connected with this network. Is it a public network, or is it a private network? So it is I would say local or external network. So there is a full chapter on each one of them. Today we are at the compute resource, and where we are on building blocks. Building blocks of compute resource. Okay. So now that we are on the building blocks of compute resource, and let's look at this here. So guys, so I'm gonna number them as well as we understand, and it's really easy to understand. Okay, so first of all, this is compute building block, the very first what do you call, fundamental component, or you can call it, you can remember it however you like, but this is a very important component that what we are about to discuss. So everything starts with a VM. So here we need to understand what is a VM. A VM is a server in which applications will be hosted. Now, in order to understand the importance of VM, let's understand importance of VM right here. So VM is a server number one. So most of us are aware of what is a server. Now, server for these organizations, server for all these organizations is revenue. So server means revenue for all organizations. Why? Because their applications are all attached with the server. And who else is important? These servers are connected to end users. So these servers are all connected to end users. So this is an end user that is connected to the server to use their services. Now that can be eBay, the user is going to ebay.com, a user is going to netflix.com, user is going to kgg.com, user is going to olx.com, and all these websites where millions users are connected, basically they are all connecting on the server. And in a virtual world of cloud, this is known as a VM. So you can see the importance of this VM. If this VM goes down, the users will be disconnected, and basically there will be a loss of revenue for this organization. So the VM is very, very important, and in the VM, the VM is very, very important. So it is very, very important to keep this VMs 24/7. This is our duty as a cloud admin. So 24/7, the VM should be on and healthy. So it's not only on, but it should be healthy as well. Okay, so on and healthy. And how do you keep it on and healthy? So let's take an example of your own laptop. So our own laptop, Microsoft made it very easy for us. Microsoft made it really easy for us to maintain our laptop. So most of the time, okay, just a second. So, okay, so okay, I'll take your question. Human asked the question, what is the meaning of the building block? Building block simply means the basic components of VM. So just the basic components of VM. So just is that simple. So okay. And Riyadh said that I have notes from the yesterday, but for reason on WhatsApp. Okay, that's fine. You can all just share the notes with me. Okay. So guys, here what we are discussing here, the importance of VM, and VM needs to be on 24/7, and we need to establish this context around this VM, because VM is basically the revenue for organization, and VM is our job security as well. So as long as the VM is on, your job is there. And as soon as the VM dies, and it keeps on dying in your hand, definitely that person cannot stay longer in that organization. So being the cloud admin, yes, you are responsible for this complete cloud. You are responsible for the cloud, but in the cloud, the most important thing you are responsible is for these VMs to run. Why? Because these VMs are producing revenue, and at the same time, these VMs are producing is actually your salary. So your salary is coming from these VMs. So these should be on, these should be healthy. Now, so how can you make them healthy? We make them healthy exactly in the same manner as we take care of our notebooks. Okay, I know that most of the time we don't take care of our notebook, these laptops. But Microsoft takes care of this laptop for us. For example, they keep it updated all the time. So nowadays, before long time back, Microsoft used to ask that if you want to update your machine, and it was manual update. Nowadays, Windows 10 automatically updates itself. So it will keep on updating itself, number one. Number two, antivirus. We need antiviruses on our notebook, and we all have antiviruses on our notebook, because the more we are closer to internet, our internet is fast. We have 50 MB or 100 MB internet. At the same time, it is open to millions and millions of viruses, viral attack on our machine. For that reason, we need antivirus on this. And antivirus, these agents are there. We have updates on this, and then every now and then we also should backup of our personal stuff on our home notebook. Most of the time we don't take backups, but guys, it's that time when the notebook dies. So every now, all of us, almost all of us, have seen one time or another notebook dying on us. And the very first thing that dies is all of the information with the notebook. So so for that reason, and it is at that point then we take backup. So how do we take backup of this home notebook? We buy a USB and then try to keep all the files in the USB as well as soon as it dies. So basically these are the things to make it healthy. Number one, updates. Number two, antivirus. And number three, backups. And number four, we keep on monitoring our notebook. So every day when we log into this, I mean, unconsciously we monitor our notebook as well. I mean, how do we monitor? So if my laptop is slow, then definitely you will go into the notebook and see that what is making it slow. Is it the disk that is near capacity? So if your disk is near capacity, your disk is 500 and it is, let's say it is like my disk. So let me show it to you here. So this is my disk here, and if I go onto this, so you see that this is known as almost 11 GB free. So it's almost near capacity. I mean, these are the things. Or we can go to the task manager within my notebook. So within all of them, within your notebook as well, you can go to a task manager and you can see the performance. And within the performance, it shows us that here CPU is near 50% used, and the memory is like 41% used, which is 41% used, and the disk is 0% used. So this is how we can just keep an eye on this system. So keeping this all in mind, so monitoring a server is not a new thing for us. So we are dealing with this every day. So having said that, managing a server is not an issue. It is exactly like managing your own notebook. So we are all almost experienced system admin. I mean, this is the main job of a system admin as well. So going back to our diagram, so in the diagram, the very first thing that we need to understand that in compute, under compute service, so under compute service, everyone, under compute service, there are three things. So compute service, there are three different offerings in the compute service. Number one is infrastructure as a service. So this complete server refers to infrastructure as a service cloud offerings. So in this, we have infrastructure as a service. Then this circle or this this rectangle type of shape, this square type of shape, this refers to as PaaS. This is PaaS offering, and the third one is SaaS offering. So under compute resource, we have all three types of offering, and this is SaaS offering. This is SaaS offering, this is PaaS offering, and actually this is serverless computing. Okay, so within IaaS, the very first thing is, so always remember now, is IaaS is always equal to everything to do with a VM. IaaS is everything to do with a VM. So in interviews, in companies, wherever we go, and they are referring to, have you worked with the IaaS services? So your answer is, if you have ever even created one VM in the life, yes, you can say yes, I worked in IaaS. And what did you work in IaaS? I worked with 300 VMs. So everything to do is IaaS. Okay, so IaaS is equal to VM. So everything to do with the VM. So let's say once we create a server, once we create a VM, the very first thing that happens to a VM. Now guys, I need your attention. Attention all participants. And so the very first thing that we need to remember is VM. As soon as we create a VM, there are two disks created with a VM, and a storage account is created a VM. So the very first disk, that is known as that is known as, number two is that is known as OS disk. So this is where the operating system is. And so guys, why are we learning this? We are learning this so that we can become an expert of this. And why do we need to become an expert? Because we need to troubleshoot this. So if you know this to this level, if you know this resource, this compute service on this level, everyone, and we are getting some background noise from Riaz. So if we know this on this level, you will be able to troubleshoot it. Guys, the reason we are going into this depth is to basically become an expert troubleshooter. And okay, so that we can become expert troubleshooter on this. So the very first thing, when the VM is made, what happens is it creates two disks. Number one, OS disk. Number two is the data disk. The data disk is optional. This disk is created whenever we need it to be created, but the one disk that is created is this, and it stays in the storage account. So it stays in the storage account. We created a VM, it created a disk, and it stays in the storage account. So the only three things to remember. Now that we have created this VM, then just like our laptop, we need antivirus on this. We need other agents on this, and these other agents are known as VM extensions. So this other agent is known as VM extensions. So VM extensions are basically nothing but agents, different agents that we get. And these different agents, for example, some of the agents are free and some of the agents are paid. For example, here this diagnostic agent is free. So these are the agents that go onto the VM. So the very first thing that we need to remember, when you create a VM, OS disk is created and it stays in the storage account. Now, what is the storage account? There is a full chapter. We will go into more detail. For now, just take a snapshot in the photo memory. Okay, so this is how it is. And then second thing is, then we need extensions. Extensions are different agents that go onto that VM to protect our VM, or maybe to have different services on that VM, and extensions are those agents. And so one of the example is antivirus. If we need an antivirus while creating a VM, we can select from the extension. So extension are all those extra features that we need to go, and some of them are free, some of them are paid. For example, diagnostic is free. This one is free. And then there are some paid. And the fifth thing that we need to remember, that as soon as you have a VM, you need monitoring on the VM. And for monitoring, Azure provides a service called Monitor. So this is a service called Monitor that is provided that will automatically give you basic monitoring. So this Monitor service gives you basic monitor for free. This is for free, meaning that whatever the price of the VM, it won't charge anything extra for the basic free monitoring. But if you need detailed monitoring, then we can use log analytics or alerts. We can set up alerts and log analytics. This goes into advanced monitoring. So there are two components to remember here. Number one, monitor, which is the basic monitoring, which is exactly this, what I just showed you here. We get task manager with all the computers, and this is free. This is basic monitoring on our notebook, on our laptop, on our normal day-to-day computer, where you can see the CPU, memory, and this is just basic monitoring going on. And this type of monitoring is free with the Monitor, Azure Monitor, and log analytics can be used, which is advanced monitoring. This comes with a price, but it will give you detailed monitoring, and it will be a detailed monitoring. Ajmal is asking a question: do we need antivirus on cloud VM? What my understanding is that the cloud is secure. Yes, we absolutely need antivirus on a cloud VM. Yes, cloud is secure, but remember that VM is our responsibility. So cloud itself is Microsoft's responsibility. Cloud is Microsoft's responsibility, but the VM is your responsibility. And on your VM, you might have a website that is open to internet. Your VM has, maybe it's a file server that has shares that is provided to your employees that is open to internet. So there can be anything on these VMs that is the company's responsibility for that. we need internet, because every now and then this VM will connect to internet and to maybe remote users, remote end users, and all that. For that reason, yes, antivirus is very, very important on these servers too. So guys, VM is created, OS disk is created, then we can have extensions on that VM like antivirus and all other agents. And then we have monitoring on number one. We have, for monitoring, we have a product service called Monitor, and Log Analytics is advanced monitoring. The sixth thing is that when you have a VM, then you need to take backups as well. For backing up, Microsoft automatically provides a service called Azure Backup. So this is called Azure Backup, which is this service, Azure Backup. It will back up and it will keep it in the recovery vault. It will keep it in the recovery vault. So whenever a VM is back up, it keeps it in a recovery vault, because you need somewhere to store the backup. This is exactly like when you have a notebook. We bought this. Then we bought this USB drive. So we bought the USB drive to take a backup of our notebook exactly in the same manner. Microsoft has something called Azure Backup Service, and that takes the backup in the recovery services vault, recovery vault. So this is also available, but this is not free. If you take backup, this depends on that how much storage you use. So backup service is free for interview purposes, everyone. So in an interview, they would ask you, so if I enable a backup on a VM, would that charge me anything? So it's a trick question. The answer to this question is yes. Backup service is free. So backup service is free. The service that is taking the backup is free. But what is charged is the storage. The storage is charged, just like we bought the USB drive. USB drive, you bought it from the computer store for your laptop. That was charged, but now you're taking the backup. It's free. So the backup service is free, and recovery services vault is a storage space where it is where we take the backup. So Ajmal also asked a question. They referred vault in the instant recovery. What is that? So here, guys, vault is guys, always remember this vault, recovery vault. They call it vault. I mean, in real life, what is a vault? Vault is, most of the time we've heard that in movies, or people who might be working in banks, they know vault is a place where they keep things secure, which is locked place, which is maybe made up of steel and all. So here, recovery vault is nothing but a storage place where we keep backups of the VMs. So now there are two storage places within cloud. One is known as storage account. This is one storage place where we keep OS disk and all. And in the next chapter, we will see what is the storage, and we go into more detail about storage. But here, remember that there are two different storage on this slide. One is called recovery vault. It is a storage space. It is nothing but a disk. It is nothing but a disk, but this is only used for backup. We don't keep anything other than backup within the recovery vault. So now, what do we need to remember about backup and recovery? Number one, VMs can be backed up by Azure Backup. Number one, it's a service, it's free, but we need to pay for the recovery vault. So recovery vault is there. And number three is site recovery. So this is known as ASR. This is in general, this is known as ASR, Azure Site Recovery. Azure Site Recovery is also part of the backup, but this is mostly used for disaster recovery. And we will go into more detail about this, but in a very short explanation here, let me go out on the whiteboard here. So on the whiteboard, we need to now remember that when we have a VM, VM's disk is stored in the storage account. So we need to start using these terminologies. Storage account is that place, is that disk. So storage account, I'm going to just refer to as a disk. In interviews and discussions, we don't refer to storage account as a disk, but you should call them a storage account. Storage account is that place where the OS disk is sitting for this VM. So OS disk, remember that this is a VM and it needs to have either server 2016 or maybe server 2012. and any operating system that it has for use. So server 2016, and that 2016 disk is in the storage account. Now that we need to take the backup, we can take the backup by using the Azure Backup service. So I'm going to call this Azure Backup service, and that Azure Backup service takes the backup. So here it is Azure, and let me fix that. Okay, so within this, it takes the backup in another storage, and that is known as Recovery Services Vault, which is Recovery Vault. And Recovery Vault has a disk. Now, what is the major difference between this storage and this storage? So remember that this is a backup. This is comparatively a cheaper storage. This is cheaper storage as compared to the SA, which has the operating system. So since it is a backup is being taken here. Now, the third thing that we discussed about this is we need to know what ASR is. ASR is Azure Site Recovery. So this is Azure Site Recovery. So Azure Site Recovery is so this is used for DR. DR means disaster recovery, and this is the place where we can take a full image of this VM. We can take a full image of this VM. So let's say this VM is running. This VM is running now. What is a DR? DR is disaster, refers to as disaster recovery, and disaster recovery simply means that if this VM dies for any reason, if this VM is crashed for any reason, and what are the reasons of a VM to be crashed? So the reason for this VM to be crashed can be many. It can crash because of the disk failure. It can crash because of the disk failure. It can crash because of the CPU failure. It can crash because of the mainboard. And I'm just using all and everything. So these are the internal hardware failures. Or it can crash because of the natural disaster. Maybe this complete data center went down, or maybe electricity in this data center went down. So for many reasons, this is crashed. And what is the importance of this VM? This VM is very, very important because this is a VM for eBay.com. eBay.com, where they have million hits or maybe millions of hits every day. So this VM, as soon as this VM is down, yes, I understand. You might be thinking that for eBay.com there cannot be just one VM. There are hundreds of VMs there. But I'm just taking an example here. If this, let's say, this complete stack is down, complete cluster is down, and for that reason there are hundreds of users that were either making transactions, buying stuff from eBay.com, or maybe they are selecting their items and buying stuff and all that. But as soon as the VM's down, these users are disconnected. Okay, so for that reason, you have a backup. But what can a backup do? A backup it will take hours before this VM can come back because you need to restore it from the backup. This is one. But number two is, if the companies are more interested and this VM is very, very important, then they will keep a live image of this backup in ASR. So ASR is that place where we keep a live image of this complete VM. So this is a live image of this VM. So everything that is happening on this VM, it will keep an image. And so what is the advantage? The advantage is, as soon as this is dead, instead of restoring it from the backup and taking time, you can in minutes you can just create a new VM and then attach this image with this. So you will create a new image and attach this updated image, and in minutes it will be up. So this is an advanced backup option and disaster recovery option, and this option is more expensive. So this option is more expensive. This is free. This is free here. The backup service is free, but you will pay for the recovery, but that is fraction of the cost because the backup is, this is a cheaper storage. So this is one thing, but this is called, yes, Ashar is right. This is real time. It's a real time image. And so another question from Ashar is that are backups and recovery images backed up continuously? Yes, these are backed up continuously. So about the backup, how they are backed up, these are backed up continuously, but it depends on our schedule as well. So for example, for some servers, we take full backup every day. For some servers, we take full backup every day. But for some servers, we take weekly backups. So there are all these different types of servers. So some servers are critical, some servers are not critical. So depending on that, all companies have their own different type of schedule. For example, this is the most critical server. I would take a full backup, but remember, if you take a full backup every day, this will become more and more expensive. The storage will become more and more expensive. So guys, on this slide, we have learned how many things. Number one, VM. Number two, when the VM is created, a OS disk is created in the storage account. Number two. Number three, we learned that VMs are backed up. VMs are backed up by a service called Azure Backup service. Number three. So in the interview, how do you take a backup of a VM? The VM is backed up by Azure Backup service. And where is the backup? Is it in the storage account? But so they might ask you a trick question. I would ask that trick question. You know, I took a backup and my storage account is full. What should I do? So it's a trick question. And the answer to this is we don't take backups in a storage account. We take backups in recovery vault. We take backups in recovery vault. So number two is this. Number three is so number two is service, and number four is recovery vault, and number five is ASR, which is Azure Site Recovery. And with ASR, always remember that ASR is used for disaster recovery. In ASR, we keep live image of the servers. Now, one more thing, we can take live image not only of the cloud servers, we can also take live image of the live images of the on-premises servers as well. So there is another question. Also, if ASR is real-time backup, what's preventing the same error that created first service to happen in the backup? So if here is real-time backup, then it's preventing the same error. Yes. Yes, it's a good question. The question is that you're taking a real-time backup of this. So guys, this backup is not real time. The backup that we are taking, so the VM and the recovery vault, this is not real time. This might be maybe 12 or 10 hours behind, because you're taking backup once a day. You're taking backup once a day, maybe every let's say 2 a.m. at night you take a backup. So which means that if the server crashed next day in the afternoon, it's not a real-time backup. You will still lose something. But here this is a real-time image, and that is why this is more expensive. But the question is, from Asher, the question is that what happens if there is a failure within the operating system and that failure is replicated, or maybe there is a corruption in this server on a software level. I would say this is a software level corruption. Yes, that corruption will go on to the CD as well. Yes, it will go on to the image as well. But guys, think of all other type of failures. I mean, it would be rare. Yes, I'm not saying that it is not possible that there can be a corruption here on the server. That corruption will be replicated, but that's a software-based corruption. But think of all other disasters that you're protected against. You're protected against hardware failure. You're protected against natural disasters. You're protected against the complete rack failure, complete data center failure. So there are all those other failures that you are protected against. Yes, you are right. If there is a corruption on the server on a software level, that will be copied on this image, and this is part of that 10% that nobody has control over. So all companies, even Microsoft, even everyone, they know that there are few things that nobody has control over. This is one of those things. And in that case, then you can go back to your backup. So this is why it is known as two-level backup. So if image doesn't work, in some cases, you can go back maybe 5 hours or 6 hours where you can yes. So we were totally saying when you expensive, it is a huge difference. Yes, yes, for sure it is. So so we need to remember that at this point. Okay. So how many things do we learn? Backup, storage account, Azure Backup Service, Backup Vault, ASR. So I want to keep this to this discussion for now. Please remember this. Take a screenshot and also keep it in the photo memory. So we're back on the building blocks. So Sayed asked the question: backups are done automatically? Yes, backups are done automatically, and backups are scheduled, so they are automatically running in the background. Okay, so guys, here on this screen, we started with a few things, and you can see this is interesting and easier to remember. So I want you to, everyone, I want you to take 1 minute. 1 minute would be enough to review all this in your notes. Maybe write quickly. So 1 minute. So this is okay. 1 minute is not enough. This is so I have 44 minutes on 44. Take 2 minutes to review 1 to 6 points. Just say that in your mind. Just say that in your notes. Guys, if you're in front of a TV, maybe for the sake of your future, or if you're in front of any distraction, you will remember this from this lecture. You don't have to go back to books, and this will be easier. So 2 minutes starts now. You need to review 1 to 6. You need to say that in your brain. You need to write it in your copy, so that I want, because there are other things to discuss as well. And once done, just type done in the chat window. Okay, everyone, excellent. If you have reviewed, nobody has typed done in the chat window. If you're not either you're not reviewing it, or let's go forward. Thank you, Usher. Thank you, Viewer 20. And Viewer 20 asked a question, which is Viewer 20, I think, is Riaz. Riaz is saying data VHD is virtual hard disk. Yes, they use VHDs. They use VHDs here. Thank you, Usher, Riaz, Shakil, and Sayed. So for everybody else who is joined to this training, please be more interactive here. It's not difficult to remember, but if we can go by, thank you, Maria, as well. So if we go by this small little pieces of remembering, guys, trust me, this cloud technology will become more and more simpler on hand. It will be just like playing with very, very simple tools. Otherwise, guys, these are so many services in the cloud portal that this is why even experienced people won't be able to perform simple tasks when connecting 10 different services together. Okay, so what we have learned from this slide so far, we know that the VM is created. Thank you, Atif. VM is created, and the VM, as soon as the VM is created, OS disk is created. Where is it created? It is created in the storage account, and then with the VM, we can install different type of agents. Those agents can be VM extensions, and then we can have basic monitoring. Basic monitoring is free, and advanced monitoring is not free. We can enable advanced monitoring as well, and then we can take backups. And with the backup, we use backup service, Azure Backup service, which is free, but we can take backups within the vault, which is paid. And then we can also make use of ASR. ASR is mostly used for disaster recovery. So this is disaster recovery, and also ASR is used in migration. So when we are on migration, when I will explain migration at the end of this training, ASR is used in migration heavily. Because with ASR, we take a full image of the physical data center. All the servers we make an image, we bring it to cloud. We make an image, we bring it to cloud. This all happens in ASR. So, okay. So now that the VM basic functionality is running, now the next step is to have scale sets to scale these VMs. So Microsoft provides something called VM scale set. With scale set, what it does, that we can scale the VM. Scale VM meaning based on the requirement of the VM, based on the requirement of the VM, based on how heavily VM is being used or the server is being used, we can increase the number of servers, or we can increase the number of resources. So let's understand this on a whiteboard here. So now VM scale sets. So VM scale sets is an option. VM scale set. VM scale sets is an option in which we can increase the number of resources on a server, or we can increase the number of VMs. So for example, this VM is very important for let's say CNN.com, and people are on CNN watching news, and there is some breaking news. Because of that breaking news, the number of users on this server got increased. The number of users on this server got increased, and because of that, there is a huge demand of CPU or VM. So so Microsoft Azure provides this option where we can scale out these VMs. So scaling is of two types in IT. One is called scale out. One is called scale out, and the other one is called scale up. Scale up simply means that we are increasing the number of resources within the same server. So if it has one CPU, you will add two CPUs. So into two. If it has two CPUs, you can have three CPUs. Or maybe if it has memory of let's say 32 GB, I can increase the memory to 48 GB. This is known as scaling up. Scaling up, remember the arrow, remember the image here. Scaling up means like this, and scaling out means increasing the number of servers. So scaling out means scaling the number of servers, second server, third server, fourth server, fifth server. This is known as scaling out. So scaling out is of two types. We can scale out or scale up. Right, so we can scale out and scale up. So this is an option provided by VM scale set within this, and the third option is which is known as availability set. So we can create availability set of these servers as well for high availability. For high availability, so if it is an availability set, then what happens is with the combination of availability set and scale set, we can create auto scaling. So this scale set is an option in which you can scale out a VM or scale up a VM. I can increase the resources, or I can make different VMs. I can have a cluster of this VM. Same VM I can have 10 times within this, but auto scaling is an option that is intelligent option. So auto scaling is an intelligent option in which it will automatically scale out servers based on the requirements. So let's say it's a holiday season. Let's say it's a holiday season, and then on this e-commerce side, or maybe eBay.com or Amazon.com, now we are expecting that this weekend there will be millions and millions of hits. So we can automatically set up formulas in auto scaling that as soon as the CPU on this server reaches 70%, automatically add another server, and if it reaches 70% again, add another server. It keeps on adding servers as soon as the requirement on the server is required. So there is a requirement on the server, and the beauty of this auto scaling is that it can automatically downgrade as well. So as soon as it reaches 30% again, start reducing the servers. So guys, this is that huge big selling point why companies are moving into cloud. This is one of those huge big selling point. Now think of this as physical data center. In a physical data center, this will take months of planning and then huge big revenue, and you cannot scale down. You cannot scale down. Once you buy a $5,000 worth of a server and then you invest on 15 servers, who will take it back? Nobody is going to take it back in a physical environment. But in cloud environment, this is automatic process, and we will configure scale sets as well and auto scaling. So remember this. So three things we discussed here. So Riyadh asked the question, when I scale up, does what size hard disk and memory? When I scale up, does it change the size and memory? Yes. We can change the hard drive. We can add hard drive, or we can change the size of VM as well. 2 CPU VM, 3 CPU VM, 4 CPU VMs. Okay. And then another question: when it gets downgrade, do we get set date in VM? Yes. We can set a date as well. With auto scaling, there are many options. We can either go by percentage of use of services, or we can also go by the date and time as well. So this Black Friday, let's say, so I want to start this auto scaling on the Friday evening, on Friday evening, and ends by Sunday. Sunday evening. So you can set a date on this. So availability set. Scale sets are used. Scale set. Okay. A moment of silence, because maybe yes. So just to bring everybody back, because I know there is a lot of explanation here. So here, guys, we discussed about the VM, we discussed about the scale set, we discussed about availability set, and we will be doing a practical on this. There is more on this availability set as well. The availability sets are of two types. There is something called fault domain, and there is something called update domain. There is something called fault domain, there is something called update domain, and I will go into more detail within the slide. But the combination of two will provide us auto scaling option. Now, auto scaling option, remember the example of eBay.com on a busy Friday or a busy holiday season. And then the second one is VMs. So on the VM, we can have some automation as well. For automation on VM, Microsoft provides a service called Azure Automation. With Azure Automation, you can basically install agents automatically. You can uninstall agents automatically. You can do a lot of stuff with automation as well. Then within IaaS, the last service that is provided, that is known as container service. A container service is a combination of VMs at the end, but containers are used with applications. So container service is another service that is provided as an IaaS service as well. So I should ask the question: is this related to Power Apps and Power Automation? Power Automate? So no, this is not. This can be used, but this is a very small piece of DevOps where you can use Power Automation. There are actually more sophisticated tools for automation in cloud, like Terraforms, and there are other companies as well. But this is like basic automation, automation of agent, basic automation of extensions and changes. So this provides basic. Shakil asked the question, request for a break at 7:58, please. Okay. So how much time do we have? Let me see. 57. So it's almost 1.5 hours. So in 3 minutes, we'll go for a break. In 3 minutes, we can take a break of 10 minutes. And then we can have another 10 minutes break later on. So, okay, let's take advantage of this. So guys, containers are used for application. There is a full chapter on this. Don't worry about this at the moment. So I'm not going to go into more detail at the moment. We will understand containers later on. So these services are offered in the infrastructure as a service. So right here, we discussed about scale set, availability set, auto scaling, and container service. Now, these are all connected by using a network interface card. So by using a network interface card to a virtual network. So just like our laptop at home, we connect it to our Wi-Fi Why do we connect our laptop to a Wi-Fi? We connect our laptop to a Wi-Fi to connect to internet, to use to Google something, or to connect to internet. So this is exactly the case. VMs have network card that connects them to the virtual network of cloud. So they connect them to the virtual network of cloud. Ajmal asked a question, difference between availability set and skill set. Yes, Ajmal, there is a full slide on this, and I will shed more light on this later on. Skill set, okay, so since you asked a question, skill set is very simple. Skill set will increase the resources, decrease the resource. If you're looking at the mouse on screen, increase, decrease. Whereas availability has two different domains. It protects us from the hardware rack failure. If one rack goes down, it will move the machines to the other rack, and it also protects us against the updates of a server. So if 5 needs update, 3 of the servers won't be updated in one rack, and the 3 of the. So I will explain that in a moment. So 1 more minute for a break. So guys, we have VMs connected to the network, and from there they can be connected to app service, cloud service, and service fabric. So first of all, app service. App service is basically in this service, we can basically host web apps. We can host web apps, and we can host mobile apps. So mobile apps, we can host web apps or mobile apps within this. Okay, and so as Sayed asked the question, AS is also used for DR. Yes, ASR is used for ASR is used for DR. What do you mean by AS? AS, are you referring to ASR, Azure Site Recovery, or are you referring to something else as AS? Availability set. Availability set is used for high availability, but not for disaster recovery. This is a different option. So yes, availability set is not used for disaster recovery, but high availability of that VM. Riyadh asked a question, network interface, it comes with IS or PAS. Network interface it comes with all of them. So it comes with PAS and IS as well. Let's go for a break, everyone. And whoever is here, you can keep asking questions. I'll be here as well. So this is a 10 minutes break, everyone.
Hello? Adnan, can I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead. Ask a question.
Thank you. First of all, I mean, I'm blown away with the information that you're giving us. This is very good, very clear. I'm not coming from non-IT. I mean, I'm getting it. The one thing I want to say, the building block diagram that you have on the screen. So I made a note. Like what comes in IaaS, VMware, VM scalable, auto scaling, blah blah blah, all those things, and PaaS also. So the whole thing is a SaaS when it comes to the everything. Software as a service means the whole building block is a SaaS.
So SaaS is basically SaaS. Yes, SaaS, you can say not only this, but it includes everything in the storage. It includes everything in the network. It includes the complete cloud. So in the background, it's the complete cloud.
Backup, monitoring, everything.
Not only on this slide, but there are 20 different services in storage and 20 different services in network. So altogether, 150 services is SaaS.
Okay, got it. All right.
Okay.
So on the PaaS is just this one, right? App services, cloud services, and fabric services.
PaaS is this services here, but PaaS also has storage components that we will learn in storage, and PaaS also has networking components that we learn in network. But for the compute related, these are the services for PaaS.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
So your subscription is working fine?
No, actually, no. I was not able to get it done, by the way. I mean, that's a good one. So it's asking me my role, and it says select all or account admin, contributor, owner, raider, billing reader, billing contributor. So I don't know what should I say.
So do you have a team viewer with you? I can look at your screen.
Sure. I logged in and I downloaded it, but some reason, it's been like 10 years that I use this team viewer. So
so 10 years, basically you're experienced team viewer expert. So.
Oh, yeah. But since I used it's been 10 years, but I don't know. I downloaded it, but it's not taking me anywhere.
So just open TeamViewer. I mean, just go to Start and find TeamViewer and open it.
Okay. 1 second, let me.
Right.
Sorry. Okay, TeamViewer right here. It said partner, your ID. Okay, it was the other screen. So I should send you my ID.
You can tell me your ID. Yes.
Okay, 350 013
350 013
039.
039. And the password?
51Q S small s small q small s 4B.
Okay. So okay, so we are here, and can you open the subscription screen, please, where you are stuff. So you're on this one. So here it says pin to dashboard. We don't need this. So you're the owner. It is working. What is wrong with this? It's active, and
Shakil says in their my role it says something else. I'm like.
It says admin. It says admin, but it's fine. I mean,
okay.
there is, yeah, it's fine. There is no. You're the owner. He's the admin.
Oh, okay. So
you have more privileges.
Oh, thank you. So I'm set for this. Thank you. I'm set for this.
Yeah. Yes,
Oh.
for sure. You're set.
So when you go to the portal on the practical, when you're going to start doing later on, I don't need to be worried about anything. I'm ready to go.
No, for sure. It's working now. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Very good.
Thank you, Adnan. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. 2 more minutes, guys. Break time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back after the break, everyone. I hope everyone is back. If you're back after the break, please type yes in the chat window, guys. We need more and more interaction. The things we are going through, the things we are learning are interesting, but they are too many. I need your full attention on this. Actually, at the end of this training, I don't want to hear that, I was not able to understand this and that. So for that reason, most respectfully, most humbly, I would request everyone to stay attentive and type yes in the chat window, whoever is present. You know, so if you're here, you can see we will go with this. We'll learn all these technologies, but the concepts understanding should be very clear so that once you're in the lab, you will be able to complete all that. And this is exactly in the real environment. So I've got yes from only 3% here. Please type yes in the chat window if you're present. Okay. So just before the break, everyone, we discussed about IS offering, infrastructure as a service offering, which is VMs, and VMs have whenever VM is created, we have a OS disk is created that is stored in the storage account. Then VMs have extensions. You can have different type of agents on this while creating the VM, and then VMs can be monitored by using the basic Azure monitor service. So the interview question about this: how do you monitor a VM? Answer is VM can be monitored by Azure Monitor Service, which is this service, and then we also have something called Log Analytics, which is advanced monitoring. We can take a backup of the VM by using the Azure Backup, and backups are stored in the recovery vault and the site recovery as well. The next thing that we discussed about VMs, we can use scale sets, we can use availability set, combination of both. We can use auto scaling with the VM, and VMs are also, we can use containers. So the two things that we need to learn before moving on. Number one is, what is availability set? What is availability set? Number one, and number two is basically what is containers. We will discuss in another chapter. But what is PaaS offering within for the compute resource? So first of all, let's understand here availability set. Availability set, guys. So guys, availability set. Now, availability sets are provided by Azure. Availability set is provided by Azure, and it is basically for the high availability of. Availability sets are offered by for the high availability of VMs. Of these servers. So remember that availability set basically helps provide high availability for this VM. High availability. What do you mean by high availability of this VM? High availability of this VM is basically for the protection against hardware failure and the updates. So in availability set, there are two things that are. It provides us two options. Number one is known as fault domain option. So it provides a fault domain option, and second is known as update domain. So how many options, guys? Everyone, you can say that in your own words. You can say that it is fault domain and update domain. How many? Fault domain and update domain. Now, what is fault domain? What is fault domain? So, guys, fault domain is protection against the rack hardware failure. Protection against the rack hardware failure. If I can say here, this is protection against the rack. Excuse me. Protection against rack hardware failure. So this is protection against rack hardware failure, and this is the protection against security updates. So security updates. Security updates. Now, how does it protect against these two? So it will protect us against the hardware security failure in this manner. So, for example, so in all of the data centers, the servers are basically within the servers are racked. Servers are hosted in racks. So servers are installed in racks. I'm just looking for a longer picture. So here, this is rack 1. And likewise, we have rack 2 and rack 3. So guys, what are we trying to understand here? We are trying to understand fault domain and update domain. So we have one rack, we have second rack of servers, and we have third rack of servers. Now, what is a rack? Rack is just that metallic. You can say it's a metallic. It's a metallic thing. It's a thing. No, it's a metallic. It's a metallic. What is the word that I'm trying to look for? So it's this thing. So if I go to data center, I'm just bringing the data center architecture diagram. So guys, these are racks. So this metallic piece here is known as a rack. If some of you, yes, it's a storage cabinet. Excellent, very good. Thank you, Asher. It's a cabinet actually. It's a storage cabinet where you can. So these are all of the racks. So fault domain basically protects us against the rack failure. So what it basically does when we enable this option, when we enable the availability set, by default it is not on. What it does, it takes the. Remember that yesterday we talked about that for each disk. for each disk, there will be 3 copies of the same server. But when you enable availability set, what it does, it takes the 3 copies in 3 different racks. It takes the 3 copies in 3 different racks, which means that one server will be in this rack, second server will be in this rack, and the third server will be in this rack. So if in case if this rack goes down, nothing will happen to the end user. End user will be keep on connected. End users will be keep on connected because you have exactly the same server sitting in 3 different racks. So this is known as fault domain protection. This is fault domain protection. Fault domain, I mean, the name doesn't define itself. Name is different, but it is a failure. It protects us against the hardware failure of the rack. So one more time, what is a fault domain? Fault domain is very simple concept. If you enable this, for sure it will cost it will cost you more in the cloud. Why? Because you're keeping the other 2 copies as well. So the other 2 copies of the server, if one rack goes down, obviously users are connected to only 1 copy. If one rack goes down, users will automatically connect it to the second rack and second server. So this is known as fault domain. So fault domain, in fault domain, we will have a copy of the server. So one server will be here and the other server, okay, I have to send it back. So one server is here, the other server, the copy of this server is on this server, and the third is here. So this is known as, if one rack goes down, the server will be protected against the second. So this is one type of protection. This is one type of protection. And the second type of protection in this is, so this is why I said it is rack hardware failure protection. Whereas the second one is the update domain failure, update domain, which is against security patches. We all know that all servers need security patches. So, and what is the frequency of a security patch? Anyone knows within this group? Anyone knows within the group that what is the security patch cycle within the real environment from Microsoft? So guys, every second Tuesday, actually third Tuesday, every third Tuesday of the month, Microsoft releases security patches for servers. And this is their, I mean, every third Tuesday they release patches. And let's say this week and this month we have 6 patches to be 6 security patches to be installed on these servers. What is a security patch? Security patch is that small software that is basically used to either protect the server or enhance the server. From who? From Microsoft. So Microsoft releases these security patches every third Tuesday of the month, and they will send it to the company that, okay, you need to go and install these patches. But some of the security patches requires reboot. So some of the security patches will definitely require reboot. Not all of the patches require reboot, but what does reboot mean? Reboot means disconnection of users. So users will be disconnected, and disconnection of users meaning loss of revenue. So loss of revenue. So in order to protect the users against this disconnection, what happens is that if they are part of a availability set, then availability set intelligently first update the server that is in a different rack, that is in a different availability group, or in a different rack. So first it will update this server that is where users are not connected to, and then it will move all of these users to the server that is updated. So this user was first connected here on this server, so this server will be updated first. Once this server is updated, then the users will be connected to this server and this server will be updated. So that is known as update domain. This is why this is known as availability set. It makes sure that the server is available all the time, despite of any hardware failure or despite of any update domain failure. So just to remember that availability set protects us from 2 different type of disaster. Number 1, fault domain. Fault domain interview question is that what is the fault domain? What do you know about availability set? So your answer is availability set provides us 2 protection options. Number 1, fault domain. The second one is update domain. How many options does it provide, guys? It provides 2 options. Number 1, fault domain, and number 2, update domain. Guys, what is the best way to attend this training? What is the best way to basically learn everything? We will use all our senses. Number one, distraction out. We don't need distractions within this training, because secondly, we are listening. So we are all listening, number one. Number two, I want you to write notes as well. So if you can write on your notes, simple this: availability set, it has fault domain and an update domain, and fault domain is rack against rack protection, and whereas up it is and the second one, update domain, is against security patches, reboot protection. So which means that if these three servers needs to be updated, then what it can do, it can first update one server where users are not connected, and then it will move the users to that server, and then it will update the other server. In all cases, user should stay connected. And why users should stay connected? Because it's a source of revenue. It's a source of revenue. So this is what availability set is. Guys, the next thing that we need to discuss is PaaS. The next thing we need to discuss for the compute is PaaS. Now, guys, this is a very, very important point that we need to understand here. So first of all, what is PaaS, and what is the application of PaaS? What is the application of PaaS in this? So PaaS, we all know PaaS stands for Platform as a Service. So Platform as a Service, everyone. So guys, all of you, if you are present, please type yes in the chat window. I need to know as a trainer that everybody is attentive. So please type in the chat window. Sorry about that if I keep on asking this again and again. This is an online training, and we need to be more vigilant. We need to make sure that that we are present, and we will set the pace around this. So I have Asher, I have Ajmal, I have Viewer, I have Raza, Shakil, Human, Marja, and Umar. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. So the second topic, guys, each topic, you can say each topic is a very small topic, but it has a huge advantage. It has a huge part in cloud service. So just before this, we discussed about we discussed about availability set. Before that, we discussed about availability we scale set, and then before that, we discussed about the VM and then extension. You can see that everything is actually like a chain. It's like a chain, and each and everything basically it ties with each other. And trust me, by understanding these small little pieces. So you will keep on understanding these small little pieces. This will become a very, very strong combination, and you will shine as being a cloud admin and a cloud architect. Okay, so the second thing that I wanted to discuss is here, which is known as PaaS. PaaS stands for Platform as a Service. So Platform as a Service is basically Platform as a Service. Okay. Thank you, Sayed and Hassan as well. Platform as a Service, everyone. Platform as a Service, now understand this. So Platform as a Service, in compute, it offers 3 services as part of IaaS, as part of compute service. So number 1 service is known as App Service. So app service. Guys, always remember, why is it part of compute? Compute is always, whenever we think of compute, is always equal to a VM. So compute is always equal to a VM. So what is app service? App service is a PaaS offering. Now we need to understand the clear difference between the IaaS service and PaaS service. If I say that, I need to buy an IaaS service from Azure Cloud, so I will go to the Azure Cloud and I am looking for only IaaS. I'm not looking for PaaS service. So this basically means that I am only interested in leasing a VM. I'm not interested in leasing the app service or a ready-made service. Now, what is the difference between a ready-made service and just a VM? So VM, I will pay just for the VMs, and then that is it. And I will select VMs on my own. So I will select a VM with 1 CPU. and then I will select another VM with 2 CPU, and then I will pay the charges, and that's it. And whatever I need to keep on the VM, this is my responsibility. But guys, so what is the difference between PaaS? In PaaS, what happens is I'm more interested in application. I'm more interested in application. So PaaS service, I will select, let's say, app service, and this is an example of what is app service offering. So app service, I would say, I need to host a website. I will host a website, and this website is basically and this is now I'm telling Microsoft that I need a website to which every day I am expecting like maybe 1,000 hits, meaning 1,000 people will be accessing this website. Maybe in the beginning it might be 10 people, 2 people, 3 people, but maybe but in the next coming 6 months or 1 year, I'm expecting the load of 1,000, and then it will increase. So this is what I told Microsoft, and based on this information, what Microsoft does, they will automatically select VMs for us. They will select VMs for us. They will select the network for us, what type of networking you need in the background. They will also select the storage for us as well. So this complete selection from Microsoft, this is known as PaaS offering, because this is I am not responsible for this. But in IS, I am responsible for the VMs, and I'm responsible for installation of the VM. I'm responsible for the installation of operating system. I'm responsible for installation of the IaaS service or web service or whatever service I need. I'm responsible for everything. Yes, the underlying hardware in IS is responsibility of Microsoft. So here you are responsible, but in a PaaS offering, I'm only responsible for the website. So I am concerned with the website. I will have my developer create a website and basically manage the website. But what is the underlying hardware? This is not my responsibility. Microsoft will make sure that the VMs where the website is hosted is perfect, 24/7 available, and it is as fast as we require. So this is the difference between PaaS and SaaS. So I'm gonna write here again one more time. This is PaaS and this is IS. In IS, I am responsible right from the beginning and the VM, and then I can on this VM I can have OS, and on this VM I can have a website. So in IS, I am responsible for both of the component, this one and this one. Whereas in PaaS offering, I am only responsible for I will get a website, but I am not responsible for the VM. So this will be the responsibility of Microsoft, and this is my responsibility. So you see the difference in here. I'm only using the service, and then I am connecting this to my end users. And I'm not responsible for the OS license that every now and then I have to upgrade the license. I have to install the security patches. I have to make sure that the disk is proper, disk is not full, and so on. But here now in terms of the cost, you'll be surprised that this is cheaper than IS. IS is more expensive. In some cases, actually in most cases, this will be more expensive, and PaaS is mostly PaaS is cheaper than the IS option. Okay, so now we have discussed that there are two things. There is IS offering, in which I select a VM, I make sure that the operating system is installed, and I will be responsible for installing service packs. I will be responsible for installing the antivirus. I will be responsible for making the backups of this. Whereas most of this stuff will be management of Microsoft, and you are responsible for the website here. You're responsible. So this is known as PaaS offering. So next time in an interview, in discussions, wherever you're sitting, if they're saying, have you worked on IS? You can say, yeah, IS, I worked on VMs, and I've managed the VM, so that is completely IS. So what is PaaS? PaaS is also related to VMs, because at the end, it all goes back to VMs. The faster your VM is, the faster your website will be. So for that, in app service, we buy a plan from them. We buy a plan from them, and they will make sure that that the underlying VMs are fast enough to basically service our clients. So these are the two things. And within PaaS, these are three offerings here. Number one, so within compute, we have app service. Number two is cloud service. And number three is, I think it is, let's go back here. Number three is Service Fabric. So these three options are PaaS offerings, but now you should understand that why is it in the compute building block? Because in the background, these all services are connected to VMs. These all services are VM related services. That is why they are in the compute resource. So in the back, so app service is mostly for web apps and mobile apps, whereas cloud service is another option that is mostly for infrastructure. That is mostly for infrastructure related for the backend services, and Service Fabric is basically for networking and management. We will go into more detail later on for this, but these are three PaaS offering, and there is a full chapter on this, on app service, cloud service, and Service Fabric. So for now, we don't need to go into detail, but at the moment, I want you to understand that in the background, it's VMs, but VMs are not our response. In cloud service, Service Fabric, companies buy these services to basically have more attention on their business rather than on their hardware. So app service and cloud service and Service Fabric, there is a full chapter, and there are about maybe 10 or 15 more services inside these services. Okay, so this is one thing, and the last thing is serverless services. Now, serverless services is also almost like app service, but app services is actually specifically for the website. This is for the website or the mobile apps, which is Android apps or iPhone apps. So this is basically that. But in functions and logic app, functions are like scripts. So these are predefined scripts that are sitting in Azure that we can use to basically start a complete infrastructure. For example, I need Exchange server. I need an Exchange server, so actually Exchange server, or maybe a SCCM server, maybe any other server, maybe let's say a Citrix server. So instead of I create a VM. So how do you create one server? Or let's take an example of a web server. In order to create a web server, what do you need? So in order to create a web server, I would need a VM, and then within the VM, I would install the OS, and then once the OS is installed, I will install the IaaS service, and then I will set up, basically, I need to set up the IP addresses and everything on this. But with functions, I can just write a complete script, and that script will run, and it will do everything for me. So function is actually ready-made scripts available in Azure. This is why it is known as serverless service. I don't need to be concerned about the server. I will write my own script and it will automatically create the server's functionality. Logic apps is also same like this, but this is more of a workflow. So this is more of a workflow, which means that what is the difference between script and a workflow? Script is more of on the technical side. So I'm saying that, with this function, with this script, I need to build 3 VMs. So I'm saying this script will build me 3 VMs, and then 3 VMs names are these, IP addresses are these, and they are connected in this manner, and so on. And that function will run, and it will automatically create them. So for example, if I would have created 3 VMs, it might take me 1 hour. For function, it might take it less time, and then I don't have to be attentive on this. After half an hour, all 3 servers will be ready. And then what is another advantage of function? Because the function is there now. If these 3 servers, let's say it's a test lab, and then I'm done with the test lab, and after 1 week, I need again that test lab, I don't have to rescript it again. I will just run the function and it will automatically create the 3 servers. It's exactly like developers will understand this more, because developers use functions in their coding. You will call that function, and that function will run the script, and it will just create the VMs, the 3 VMs, 4 VMs, create a storage, and you can also go into that granularity where you can add extensions, where you can add monitor, where you can add a backup. So you can write that complete script on this. Whereas logic apps involve some human interaction as well. So for example, the logic app will be a complete set of instructions. It will send an email as well. So for example, somebody initiates a function, it will send an email to the manager. The manager will have option to approve it or reject it. If it is approved, then it will run the function and create the VM. And if it rejects, it won't stop here and send an email back to the requester saying that it is not allowed. So workflow, it's a complete, logic apps are workflow type of information. So Riyadh asked a question. So serverless service is less pricey. Serverless service is less pricey. Yes, it depends. I mean, it can be more costly based on the use of this service as well. It can be costly based on the use of the service. If you're making 10 servers and you're running it, so you'll be getting the same cost of making 10 servers as well. Umar is asking a question. What is a cloud service? Can you please repeat that? Yes, cloud service is basically, again, just like a web service, but cloud service is more about monitoring of these web objects. So it is monitoring about the web objects. For example, I've created a web service, a web app, and then in the background, this web app requires 5 VMs. And those 5 VMs, or maybe I've created a mobile app, and that mobile app requires 2 VMs. So cloud service has one of the components. Cloud service has one of the components that will basically monitor in detail about the mobile app, how many users were connected. So I'm just giving you an example. Here it would say how many users are connected to this. What is the load on this server? And what is the load on this server? And when it reaches 90%, what is the timing that it reached 90%? So basically, it goes into that details of managing the app service. So, but guys, here I'm not explaining this. This is not the right place to explain all this. There is a full chapter on this, so don't worry about this. Even the service fabric. Service fabric is the networking that is behind app service and the cloud service. It is the networking, the type of switches, the type of security, and all. This is so these all 3 services are related. And there is a full chapter on this, so don't worry about this at the moment. I just gave you one-liners for this. In this, if you are able to understand app service, this is the same functionality, and these are the supporting services in this. Okay, so let's quickly recap what we have learned in this. So we created a VM, and the VM, as soon as VM is created, OS disk is created, and when the OS disk is created, it is stored in storage account. We can also add a data disk with this as well. And then VMs can have extensions, and these extensions are basically diagnostic service, and then there are other services like antivirus. Some of the services are free, some of the services are paid, and then we can have monitoring on these servers. So guys, Microsoft has covered this from all angles. Microsoft has covered this from all angles so that companies can have that confidence to bring their revenue generating servers in Azure. Guys, if Microsoft would have not provided this level of confidence to companies, then who would come and put their servers in Microsoft? Now, how many companies are investing in Microsoft? I mean, how many companies are hosting in Microsoft, guys? Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 1000 companies. And actually, every now, you just look around yourself, around you, the companies that you have worked for, half of those companies are in Azure. Half of those companies are in AWS, and companies are moving into Google Cloud. So monitoring, backup, So these things for the individual VM, and then for the high availability of VM, we have scale sets that can automatically scale out and then scale up. So guys, with scale out, scale up, remember for the interview purposes, it goes scale out and it goes scale up. Scale up meaning increase the CPU, memory, and the resources inside the VM. Scale out mean increase the number of servers, and this can be an interview question as well. What do you know about scaling out? And then in availability set, we learned fault domains and update domains. So we learned fault domain and update domain. Guys, be ready to have your own explanation. Whatever you have written at the end of this lecture, we will open the mic, and then you might be able to you might be asked to just repeat the 3 or 4 points, whatever your understanding is. For that reason, I mean, this is all for having us more and more good remembering for these components. Then we talked about container service. Guys, container service will be discussed in more detail within this as well, within one of the chapters here. But container service is about application. Container service is about application, but at the end, these are VMs being contained in a container service. I have more explanation on this, but for now this is fine. We will discuss it in more detail in another chapter. Now these VMs are connected to network interface card that connects them to the virtual network, and then that connects them to the outside network and the local network as well. And then for the compute offering, we have a platform as a service, which is app service, cloud service, and service fabric. For serverless computing, we have two, which is functions and logic apps. In order to secure all this, provide security to this, we have Security Center, complete Security Center within Microsoft Azure, and I will show you in a moment. We will create a VM, and this will be more and more understanding once we are in the lab. And and so Security Center basically gives us a full view of our complete environment. So actually, since we are here on the topic, let's log into our portal. So I'm going on to the portal now, and within the portal I have two accounts here. You can have 2 or 3 or 4 accounts here in your machine as well, and later on we will be creating accounts in Active Directory, and then we will go into more detail about those components. So here I am in this, and I am looking for Security Center. So all I need to do is go to this, go to our favorite search, and go to security. So I will go to Security Center. So at the moment, I need to go to the Security Center. Security Center is basically provides us an overall view of a complete Azure environment. So, so by default, it provides us an overall view, and basic security it automatically provides. So here it is providing us that, you know, since I don't have anything in this in my portal, since once we start creating services, we start creating VMs, you will see more and more. So I've decreased the font size. I mean, I know it might be a bit blur for you, but here the Security Center gives us the full view. It gives us the security hygiene for the VMs. It is giving me that there are high severity few things. I can click on this and go into this, but basically Security Center, remember the word Security Center, it's an overall scoring of our complete environment. So overall scoring is here. Overall scoring is 0%. Let's see a Security Center of a big organization. Security Center Azure. So if we look at any other organization Security Center, and if I change to images, you will see that it gives us this type of picture. And let me go back here. So Security Center, if this is okay, it's going into this now. Security Center gives us a full view of our environment with basically a numbering as well. So for example, here it is saying 461 out of 80, 870. So this is a scoring, and it also gives a color as well. If your security scoring is less, it means that you need to secure your environment. So Security Center is, it basically, it's not only antivirus, it's not only firewall, it's not only network security, it's an overall security of your complete environment. And then it gives out suggestions, and it also provides recommendation what you need to do. Here it's saying threat protection, and it gives you all. So at the moment there is a chapter where we will discuss Security Center. So Security Center is sitting right at the top, and Security Center is really famous in the cloud environment as well. So think of a large company like Roger. If you're a cybersecurity expert, you will just go into the Security Center, and then you will so you will basically okay, viewer Riaz is saying, so it says where we are lacking. Yes. So yes, it will give us recommendation. It will show us what is lacking in the environment, and then it wants us to protect those stuff as well. Secondly, we have Active Directory for security. Active Directory, some of us might already know what is Active Directory. Active Directory is basically authentication service. There is a full chapter on this, so don't worry about this. But in a very in a summary, in a very brief understanding of Active Directory, this Active Directory is different from on-premises Active Directory, and there it's different in functioning, but it is an authentication service. So main purpose of Active Directory is authentication service. So it provides authentication when a user logs in. Basically, it is the Active Directory that lets the user log in. We set up permissions and all that. And then we have something called Key Vault. Key Vault is the place where the keys of all these services are attached, where the keys of all these services, this is basically a vault. This is a space in which we keep encrypted keys for all these services. So which means that this key will be used to start a VM. So normally we use, for us, we just log into the server, but basically in the background there is an encrypted key that is connected us to that VM, and we can keep all the keys in their vault. And there is a full chapter on this as well. So these are side services that we can use. So this area is security. Okay. So guys, this is a building block, and this is a very, very important part of today's lecture. And before going any further, let's jump on to our VM. Let's jump on to our subscription and create a VM. Create our first VM, everyone. So keeping all that in mind, and now you will see that how interesting it becomes as soon as we start building a VM, because everything that we have learned will be used. So first of all, I will change this. I will change this to 100%. So now, in order to create a VM, before even going to So before even going to creating a VM, let's actually try to understand this interface, this portal. So first of all, right here, this is known as the home screen. Whenever we are stuck anywhere within within Azure, like going into services, there are around maybe 120 different type of services in here. So 120 services, and they are continuing. So when I started, maybe around 8 years back with Azure, there were about 40 or 50 services. So now all of them, AWS and all of them, they have more and more services, and this is a new portal service. But the good thing about this is that if you know how to work with this portal, no matter how many changes they do, the services will remain the same, their names are same, and you will be, it's really easy to basically navigate into this, even if it is changed. Okay, so right here, first of all, this is a home screen, number one. On this side, you have your name and your account information on this. And if you have other accounts as well, then you can use using this to a different account. If you have a different Active Directory, this place is for Active Directory. Switch Active Directory. For now, we don't have any active. The only Active Directory is the default directory service here, but in some companies they would have different Active Directories as well, and there are different types of Active Directory like B2B, B2C, and we will discuss that all in our security lecture, but for now it is just giving us basic information. Now on this is a feedback screen where you can send a feedback back to Microsoft if you ever want to send a feedback. This is a help screen, and this help documentation has greatly improved within Microsoft, because I know that long time back with the servers documentation, it was really poorly written documentation, and it was very difficult to, but this documentation is excellent, very user friendly, and a simple English language written and to the point. So it's a good documentation. You can find a lot of help in this, and they have videos as well. On this side, this is settings. Now this is a setting for the colors that you need to use for the portal here. Guys, how many of you are logged into the portal at the moment? So please let me know in the chat window how many of you just say logged in the portal and the portal is open, or just say the word open in the chat window. Guys, without practical, there is no use for this. Sorry about that, but if you're not in the portal, I mean, yes, by next lecture, if you don't have an account, don't have a subscription, guys, spend time on this, and then you should definitely have subscription on this. So I have all of you in the portal. Excellent, very good. And if you have a second screen, that will be excellent. On one screen you can open presentation, on the other screen you can do the practical. So right here, this is the portal. You can change the dashboard, you can change the coloring. So this is just the interface coloring. Here, this is a notification part. Notification part, it will give you notification for all your activities. So it will give you notification. If I just clicked on more event activity, so if there would have been any activities here, it would let us know, and it will also let you know your account credit as well. It will also let you know your account credit in notification. And when you create a resource, when you delete a resource, when you make changes, this notification will be right here. Next one is this here, which is directory and subscription. If you have multiple subscription in your environment, then it will show you that you can log into other subscriptions as well. So for example, I have this other subscription, HSIT subscription. This is for another company organization at one time I added, so I can log into that subscription as well. And this is how, remember that we said that under a management group you can have 4 or 5 subscription, and then this is where you can change the subscription. If you are the enterprise owner, then you can change the subscription, and here it is showing me the ID of that subscription and ID of my subscription as well. The next one is the PowerShell screen, which is the next one, which is this one. This is the PowerShell option for Azure. Now in Azure, everything that we can do in Azure can have a command line. So the very first time when you open this, it will need you to ask to create a storage space. Why would it need a storage space? Because this is where it will keep its temporary files, where it will run the commands. So the very first time when you open it, you will need to create a storage. So guys, create a storage now, and so here just say create storage. So once you create storage, what it does in the background, it is creating that small space where you can run the commands, where you can see the commands, and all the temporary files in the background will be stored in this space. So it will take few moments, and it will create the space, and it will give you a login screen here. So we'll let it go. So actually here it is creating it. So requesting a Cloud Shell, succeed, and connecting, and it's creating the space, and it is opening what do you call the command prompt. It will open a command prompt on this, and then here it is giving us, if you can type AZ for to use Azure CLI, you can type help to learn about Azure. So let's say if we can type help here, and then it will give us these topics. You can also increase the size of screen and reduce the size of screen here as well. And we will come back to this. We will create a VM from this here as well. For now, we close it. So now we closed it. Your storage account is ready, and then you can use the PowerShell in there. So here on this side, this is a search, and I would say that I've not seen. I mean, I was so. We know that Google is the best search engine in the world. It's not me. It's everyone. Google gives us the better. I mean, as compared to Bing, as compared to any other searches, the Google is the best search. But this is, I would say, this is the second best. This search is the second best. Here you can type anything at all. I mean, related to the cloud, not outside. So here you can type anything, and for the cloud, and you can find it. So I can go into Security Center, virtual machine, just type it. Here you can go there. So we'll come back to search. Most of the time we use search even in the real environment. So Atif asked the question, as we are going to touch PowerShell in a bit detail later on. Yes, we will. So I will show you how to use PowerShell in this. I will provide you with the command. Guys, with the PowerShell, always remember that PowerShell, you don't need to remember commands now. We are not reinventing the wheel. So we have all of the commands ready. All we need to do, bring them out and copy them, change it as we like, and then we run the command. And I will give you a complete demo on this as well. Yes, we will go into more detail. So guys, we looked at this screen, we looked at the search, and now let's come back to, so go back to home, and this is where all of the menu options are. So this is where all of the menu options are. Here we can create a resource. Remember that there are resources. A VM is a resource, so all these things are considered as resources. A snapshot is a resource. We have Active Directory as a resource. So these are all of the resources on this side. We can create a resource. I can go to the home screen. Home screen is the same screen, and then I can go to the dashboard as well. Now the dashboard is where you can log in every day. So dashboard is where you can log in every day. We can create different dashboards for our different teams. For example, if I need to create a dashboard just for my help desk team, and then give them access for maybe 5 servers, or maybe I need to create a dashboard, I can create a new dashboard here, and then in the dashboard I can create this dashboard for marketing team. So let's say this is for my help desk team, and I want to give them access to VMs only. I don't want to give them access to everything, but I want to give them access to access to, so 23 here, I think it should be, there is marketplace, there is tutorials, and okay, so yes, we can give them access once the VMs are ready. So we can select VM, and from there, let's say for now, I can give them access to all the resources, whatever resources are available. So guys, remember that we created a storage account for a PowerShell. So this is a storage account created for PowerShell. So storage account created for PowerShell. So this is a storage account created for PowerShell, and it exists under resources here, okay? And I can give them also a clock here, let's say clock, and I can also give them something, and the clock is selected based on my own, so it's based on my place here, and then I can give them. So this is a dashboard made for this help desk, and you can set that up according to whatever, however you need to set it up, and then give this dashboard access to, we can share it with that group of people. So we can share it, publish this dashboard, and then give access to the help desk team. Now in this dashboard, we can basically, within this dashboard, we can basically bring in VMs as well. So dashboard is a place that can be different for different type of users. So instead of giving someone a full portal access, so this is a way to restrict the access to different services. I mean, we can restrict it by permissions as well. And here the dashboard is published, and here I can manage users, and I can provide them with access control. Here I can select the number of users, and then I can assign a role to them. For now, we don't have any users here. Otherwise, we would have added users. Let's see if I can find any users. Let's say I can. Yes, I have few users here. So let's say I have this user, Adnan Gmail. This is my guest account. Later on, we will be adding access, and I can provide access to this user and then provide access. So we will cover that in the security lecture, and for now, but I just wanted to give you an intro to our dashboard. So dashboard, in interviews, they might ask you, how do you restrict people from accessing the portal and not give them access? So one way is to give them their dashboard. So all your help desk department will see only what you provide them. So as an admin, as an Azure admin, you will get the complete access to the complete, to everything. Okay. So now we have the dashboard, and then we have other all services. The reason all services are here, the reason all services is here, so that we can make them favorites. So these are all of the services within Azure at the moment. So if I click on all services here, and these are all of the services. So you can see in general, these are the services, which is marketplace, tags, and free service, reservations. We have then in compute resource, in compute, we have virtual machine, we have scale set, we have app services, we have batch files, we have VM classic, we have cloud service, we have availability set, and also and snapshots. We will go through this. And then in the networking, we have all these services, and in web services, we have all these services. So let's say you can select the service from here, you can search the service from here, or if you click on any service, let's say if I click on one of the service, which is availability service, I can make it part of the home screen as well. So here I can click it, it will be part of the home screen as well. So which dashboard do I want to make it part of? So my dashboard or the help desk. So here, where is the help desk that I created? It is, where is my dashboard? Okay, shared. So let me find it in, yes. So since the help desk was shared dashboard, so this is why it is shared. There are other private dashboards as well. I can create a dashboard from here and pin this to that location as well. Okay. So now guys, so this is how, I mean, the more, so as we start using these services, we will be making the networking components, compute components, we will be getting more and more familiar using this. So for now, let's make a VM. So now let's make a VM. Okay, so two things that is very simple to understand, to navigate. Let's say I'm on this screen and I don't know where to go after this. So the thumb rule is always go back to home screen. You can always go back to home screen, and then you can go back to all resources. All resources is the place that will show you that how many resources you have currently here. So I have two resources made here, and one is called dashboard, which is in East US region, and one is the storage account that it automatically created in Southeast Asia. Now this is it automatically created based on where I am logging in, and it automatically select. But when creating a VM, it will give us that option. So in order to create a VM, let's go to virtual machines. So in order to create a VM, all these different options I can select here and search for virtual machine. I can search for a virtual machine, number one. Number two, I can go here and create a virtual machine. Or number three, I can go here, add resource, and then I can search for whatever resource that I need to make. And then here I can select a virtual machine here. I can select a virtual machine, and here we have, okay, so this is a marketplace, and here we have these ready-made virtual machine as well. We'll come back to this. So let's use this option, virtual machine. So I'm creating a virtual machine, everyone. Let's click on virtual machine, and let's create a virtual machine. Now, creating a virtual machine is, Sayed, a question is, if there are no resources, what's the purpose of the dashboard? Uh, would have wouldn't we first and resources and then create a dashboard? Yes, yes, for sure. First of all, we create resources and then we create dashboard. Yes, that is true. But purpose of dashboard is you can provide the dashboard just for the monitoring team so that they can have a look at it. Yes, dashboard, main purpose of a dashboard. If you have resources, then basically we create a dashboard. Yes. So guys, here, let's create a virtual machine. And when you create a virtual machine, just click add and a virtual machine. And within the virtual machine, we create so the very first thing, so first of all, there is menu at the top. This is the menu at the top, which is basic. We can select the disk, we can select networking, we can select management, advanced, tags, and review and create. But we will start from basic and we will fill up this information and then we will move on to the next one. So the first one is, first of all, it is giving us our subscription. My subscription is saying MSDN platform subscription. This subscription is basically provided to MCTs, which is Microsoft Certified Trainers. So this subscription will provide, and your subscription might be a free subscription with all of full resources and full access to everything. So the very first thing that we make when we making a new resource, we need a resource group. So resource group is there, and resource group, I have few resource groups here. You will not have any resource group if you have not created one. So let's create a new resource group here first. So first of all, we created, and resource group, you just need to provide a name. Resource group acts like a folder of information. So let's say I'm creating this this server, this VM for IT department. So maybe I can just name it IT department resource group. And what is the main purpose when in reporting, when create report or when we create a monthly report, we can basically sort it by the department, sorted by this IT department resource group, that how many resources are used by IT department so that we can charge them back. In large companies, you have different, all departments have different budgets, but they have their own budget and they need to pay from their own budget. So first of all, resource group, and you have seen resource group has nothing technical in this. It's just a name, and it is used for the reporting purposes. Secondly, now we need to provide the name of the virtual machine. Virtual machine name is the server name. So server name mostly will go with your organization name. So for example, if I need to, all companies have their own naming convention. I will name it NetPlus Serve 01. So I will call it NetPlus Serve 01. You can name it your organization name and Serve 01. So guys, when you need to share a screenshot on WhatsApp group once you're done with this. So please follow with me on this. This is not very difficult. It's really easy to create a virtual machine. So first of all, we created a virtual, we created a resource group. Then we named the server, and the third thing is region. I need to select a region where I need to host this virtual machine. So guys, always remember, once you select a region for a virtual machine, all the resources within that region will automatically connect with each other. So for example, I create one VM in Canada Central and another VM in US Central. Those two VMs are sitting in two different networks. They won't talk to each other. unless we do network peering. We need to then do extra steps in order to peer them together. So always remember, whenever we are creating resources, remember your own region in which you are creating all the resources. For example, I need to create 3 VMs and 2 storage accounts, and I need to create a web server, then I need to create a web app. So I will keep them in all in one I am at the moment. So for now, we are creating everything in one region. Later on, we can expand it to other regions. So in my case, I can select different regions here. Remember that the first entity right at the top is the region, and here we have a Europe region. Here we have all these regions where Microsoft has data centers, these different regions. For example, I can create it in Australia Central, where I am. I can create in Australia Central as well. So the second thing about the region that we need to remember, that not all of the regions have all cloud services. Only the major regions have all of the services. The smaller regions won't have some services. For that reason, you might not have some services enabled on some regions. So for example, if I go to West Central, here this virtual machine is available, and here's some service. So at any point, definitely that example will come later on, that sometimes you won't get the availability option. So availability zones are not available in that region. That is why you won't, this option will be grayed out. And actually this option is grayed out here. Availability zone is not available, and availability set is available in this. My point here is that in some regions, some services are not available, but in main region, all services are available. So at the moment, I will create my virtual machine in, so you can select whatever region is selected for you. Most of the time, it will automatically select not the closest region for you, not the closest, but the region that is, the region basically that you can easily access, or with a good performance. So it automatically select a region for us. You can select, if you're in Canada, select a Canadian region. If you're in US, select a US region. In my case, I'm going to select Australian region here. So for all of us, it will be exactly the same lab. It's just that where you're hosting your machine. Now in this region, we're not going to go with the availability set option. We will set that out later on, and we will create the availability zone as well. So for now, we're not setting up this option. And now the second thing is what type of operating system you need on this VM. You can go with Ubuntu, you can go with Red Hat, you can go with CentOS, Debian, Oracle, but at this point we are going with Server 2016. So we are going with Server 2016. You can go with Server 2012 as well. So let's go with Server 2016, a Windows machine. We can go with a Linux machine as well later on. It doesn't matter. But for now, let's go with just Windows machine. So we are going with Windows machine here. And then the next one is Azure Spot instance. Now, what is Azure Spot instance? Azure Spot instance are this here. So let's understand Azure Spot instance. So where is my whiteboard? So here we are trying to understand Azure Spot instance. So guys, what happens is that all these VMs that we buy, all these VMs that we lease, all these VMs that we lease. So Riaz is saying is that I don't have that spot instance option. So you can change the region. Try changing the region and see that if you can get that option. Spot instance option is like this. Please understand, I need your attention on this. And spot instance is this. Let's say I bought, and all of the VMs have sizes. So in Azure, VM has different sizes. and based on the sizes, their price is calculated. Based on the size, their price is calculated. And I will show you in a moment that there are different sizes of VM. So there is a VM size is basically it tells us that how many CPU are there and how much memory is in this VM and how much disk is there. So for example, they call this size B1 size. B1 is, let's say, 1 CPU and 4 GB of RAM, and so memory is in GBs, and then it has 30, let's say it has 500 GB hard disk. So this is, and then it is B2 is basically 2 VMs and 8 GB of size and 1 terabyte of disk. 1 terabyte of disk. So all VMs depend on their sizes, and based on their sizes, the cost is basically provided. And the cost for this VM, let's say, is $104. And cost for, or maybe it is even less cost, maybe $60 because it's one CPU. And let's say cost of this VM is $120 per month. So this is per month cost. Guys, what are we trying to understand? We are trying to understand spot instance. Guys, spot instance is basically, it's all related to the cost of the VM. So first of all, we understand the cost. So cost is based on per VM size. What is it based on? It is based on VM size, and VM size meaning CPU, memory, disk, and based on the size, let's say the cost of this VM B1 size VM is $104 per month, and B2 size VM is $120 per month. So guys, based on this is their pricing, and this is how it goes. So let's say if I get this VM, I will every month pay $104 per month for this VM. Okay, so this is the price of this VM, and then. But there are some VMs. There are some VMs that will that where we can. There are some VMs to which we can get the VM. We can set a condition. We can set a condition of a VM. So let's say for this server. Now I'm explaining spot instance. Spot instance says that on this VM, I'm saying that as soon as the cost for this VM comes down to $80, then I will take it. Then I will take this VM. So, which means that at some point in time, these VM charges will change. So let's say if I take this VM now, my cost is fixed. But let's say in non-working hour or at night time when the load is less on the network, the same VM, they will offer the same VM for $60 per month. So $60 per month, same VM. So in spot instance, I can set a condition that as soon as the price reaches to $60, $60 per month, I will create this VM and then I will use this VM. So spot meaning is a spot price. So if I take this option, I will only be able to use this VM when it is at $60, and as soon as it reaches back to $20, the VM will be off. It will be shut down. So now you will think that, this is not a stable VM. You bought the VM on a cheap price, but then as soon as the price goes up, and the price goes up and down. When you buy a VM, this is a fixed price. The price won't change unless you shut down and you rebought and you buy that VM again. But for all of the other VMs, the prices are always going up and down depending on the busy season and maybe not busy season, just like in all businesses. So, but for this particular server, I can set a condition that as soon as it reaches $60 per month, I need to take this VM. So now your question is that what type of services will be used on this VM, guys? This type of VM is mostly used for dev and test environment, for the testing purposes or for the diagnostic purposes, where companies don't want to spend their money on the servers and where they have a flexibility in using the services on this. So spot instance are those VMs where we can use them when they are on cheap price, and we can let them go when their prices go high. So this is known as spot instant price. So spot instance, so mostly in the production environment, we don't use spot instance. If I select here yes, then here it says that the capacity only virtual machine with Azure needs the capacity of pay-as-you-go workload. Your max price is set to the pay-as-you-go rate and the price capacity. So they are providing this, and not all of the VM sizes are available in this. So for now, we are not going with spot instance at the moment, and this is the eviction type. So as soon as the price goes high, we are agreeing to this, that as soon as the price goes high, just shut down the VM. I don't need the VM. So for now, I'm not going with the spot instance price. I'm going with the normal size VM. Now, this is known as the size of the VM. So size of the VM, there are many different sizes of the VM. Let's say this is, so first of all, let's read this line. It's saying the size is currently unavailable in this location. For this subscription, not available. So this size of VM with 2 vCPU and 8 GB of RAM, which is $116 a month, is not available for me, either based on the region or either based on my subscription. So what I can do, I can select whatever is available. So I can go with select size. And as soon as I go to the select size, there are predefined sizes here. So here there are sizes DS1, which is V2 general purpose VM, and here the CPU is 1, memory is 3.5, and here the disk is data disk. You can attach data disks of 4 disks here, and the maximum IOPS will be 3200. So IOPS is basically input output, how fast your disk is. And we will be learning that if these are the new things for you, don't worry about this at the moment. For now, our main focus is to start a VM, and we will go into more detail. So at the moment, I will go with the cheapest VM. We can go with the normal VM as well. And right on this side, if you use the slider bar on this side, it shows us the cost of the VM. So as you can see, there is the cheapest VM as $12 as well. So if I sort it by cost, I can also get a VM that is $6, a $6 VM, which is B1, and its general purpose. It is 1 CPU and 0.5 RAM and 2. There can be maximum 2 disks attached, but the maximum IOPS is 160. So basically, this will be a very, very slow VM, but it can be used for a very small test lab or maybe a very small test purpose. So for our case, let's buy something that where you can run, where Server 2016 can easily start up. So, and remember that in a free subscription, you can only start up a VM. You can only use 4 vCPUs. So which means I can start 4 of these servers or maybe 2 of these servers. So for now, just for our testing purposes, let's create this VM B2S. So we'll go with B2S, and the price for this is $49. And we will work with this VMs as long as at the end of this lab, you delete the VM, you won't be charged for anything. And remember that you have $200 credit as well. So most of the time when you do lab, we delete them at the end. So for now, we are selecting B2S VM. So double click on this. Actually, it is, so it's saying prices presented are estimated local. Okay. And why am I not able to select this? Okay, I'm not able to select this. Supported. I think it is. Okay. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna change this. I had this problem with this side, Australian Central region. I'm gonna go back and select another region. Maybe I'll select. I can select. So let's do it again. So we are. Riaz is saying it cannot select. So let me change the region and check it. Yes, so we will check. We will go with Canada Central. So we'll go with. So I'll go with the same. Okay, so I will go back to IT department as my resource group, and I can go with VM name NetPlus Survey 01, and I'll leave it to Canada Central. And in this, I think I won't have any restrictions on this one. So I'll go with server 2016, and I can select the same size. I will leave the size as is, or I can select another size as well. So in this case, I will select BS2, and now I can select. So guys, this is what I meant by some regions won't support all of the types because based on their data center. And here I can select this, the charges is 43.63, and here I need to provide the name. So guys, about the name, always remember, write it down somewhere. Write it down somewhere. If you lose this administrator username and password, it's very, very difficult to bring it back. It's very, very difficult to bring it back. There is a way to bring it back, but it's very difficult. So always write it down somewhere. And the password, I would suggest everyone to use the same password, which is password 1234 for all the servers, or it's up to you, but please write it down somewhere. So my username is passadmin, PASS admin, and password is password 1234. So am I writing it somewhere? No, I don't need to write it somewhere. I remember I always use this password on this. And the second thing is, next thing is the basic VM details are entered, and the next thing what we need to do is to select the ports here. So the port that we are selecting is 3389. So 3389 is the port to access the server remotely. If you don't do this, then you won't be able to access your server. But then your question might be that can we do this later on? Yes, you can do this later on as well. But later on, then you need to create a rule within the firewall and then allow it. But here, let's just keep it as is. Just keep it, select allow selected ports, and then select the 3389 port. If this would have been a Linux server, then we would have selected SSH port. If this would have been a web server, then we would have been selected this port. For now, we just need the RDP port to access the server. Next is licensing. So it's just giving us that option. If you don't have a Windows license, just buy it now. We will give you 49% savings on this. So guys, since this is a evaluation version, we don't need a license, so we'll just go with no license. Now, basic things are selected, basic details are selected in this. Let's create this VM, and I will go into disk on the second VM because we want this VM to be created in the background. So let's for now, don't go to the disk at the moment, just select the VM, create the VM as is, so that it will take few minutes and create. And in the meantime, once this VM is being created, we will create another VM with all of the other functionalities. So here it provided us the summary, and now it is validating that my credit. So does my credit allows me to create this VM? So let's say maybe your credit is not enough. Here it will not validate this. If you have missed any important detail, it will not validate this. So here it is validating this, and it is validated successfully, and it's saying per hour it will cost this much. So so it is creating it now. It is creating it now, and right here you see that the request is submitted, and it is part of the notification. In notification, it's saying the request is submitted. It will keep on creating the VM in the background. Here, if you need to see the progress, here it will show the progress. Now, what is required in the VM? It will create a storage account. It will create all of the necessary things that needs to be done. It will create a networking. It will create a public IP address, and it will create a lot of things in the background for this VM. So we'll let them We'll let them create these VMs. So here it is just giving us, we don't need to stay on the screen, and we will wait for notification once the development process is finished. Now we'll go back to the VM and we will create another VM. So this will take a few minutes here. So let's go back to the same place, virtual machines. So in virtual machines, we are back in virtual machines here. Here I don't see any virtual machine, but if you go to all resources, in all resources, you will start seeing resources being made. So as you can see, it has created virtual network for this, virtual machine, public IP address, network security group, and there are different chapters. We will discuss that all. But at the moment, as you can see, automatically these things are being generated. And guys, at the moment, you're seeing orchestrator in action. So orchestrator is basically acting and creating this. Remember that we discussed that we just send a request from the web from this web portal, and then it uses web APIs, the scripts or functions, and then it send it back to orchestrator. Orchestrator is now creating all this, and then the VM is being created on the servers within the cluster, within the data center, within the availability zone, and within the region. So it is creating that all the whatever we have discussed yesterday. So let's keep that in mind. And now we are about to create the second VM. So I can create a second VM right from here, but I will create it from the virtual machine here. So Usher, so we have a question from, first of all, we have a question from viewer 20, and that is for the username. It created automatically and not give me to enter the password. Okay. So most probably, Riaz, you created a Linux VM. In the Linux VM, it doesn't give, it actually uses the encryption. It provides an encryption key that needed to be saved. So basically that VM it won't work for you at the moment. So please delete the VM and now follow with me, follow me on creating this other VM. So remember to select Windows VM to start with. Guys, if you start with a Linux VM to start with, it will be a bit complex, it will be a bit difficult to access, and that will give you kind of a bad taste in the mouth. Because I mean, it's not difficult, it's not impossible, you will do it, but it's not that simple. So we are starting with a very simple VM here now. So okay, second question asked by Usher is, so all of these resources are created based on the first VM? Yeah. So all the resources that you see, those are all for the first VM. Yes. And then now let's create the second VM, everyone. Let's create the second VM. In order to create a second VM, I'm in the VMs here. You can go back here. So by now we should be a VM expert. We all should be VM experts here. So we go back to virtual machine. So once we are back in virtual machine, and after creating the VM, guys, we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll take a 5-minute break. So Usher is saying that I'm not seeing those resources. So Usher, you can go to all resources, and within the resources, you should be able to see all of the resources. I mean, what do you see in the resources? Do you see different type of resources, or you don't see anything in the resources? So you should be seeing something within the resources, just one cloud shell. Okay, so which means that that operation, the clown. I'm not saying the clown. That VM. That VM is not created. So somehow you were not able to click the create button, and you change it to all resources. So once it is validated, remember to click the create button, and it happens right on the last screen when it says validated. Validated doesn't mean that it is creating the VM. It does just mean that it is validated, but you still need to click the create button right at the bottom, and sometimes that button is under the scroll. You need to scroll down and then create it. So it's fine. Just do it again. So I'm going to create another VM, everyone. Let's create another VM, and I'm going to the VMs here, and add virtual machine. And this time we will create that. I will create a second VM within the same resource group, which is IT department, and I will name this Net Plus SRV02. So I'm creating this Net Plus SRV02. I need to remember that I'm creating that in Canada Central in the same VM as well. So in the same region, and I'm not using any availability options. I will change the size to, I will change the operating system to this time. I can even go with Server 2019, but this time I'm going to go with Server 2012. Server 2012. We'll go with Server 2012, and in this time I will select a different size. I want to select something with one vCPU. So I'm going to select DS1 underscore V2. So I'm selecting this other VM size. So there are different type of VM sizes. There are some there are different type. I mean, let's go into the sizes and let's look at this. There are general purpose VMs. Then there are special purpose VMs as well. So if I go to see all sizes, and in the C all sizes, we have VMs that are memory optimized VMs. So memory optimized application that is more memory intensive. For example, the databases, SQL is memory intensive. For that, this is this type of VM, but then their costs are different too. Then their costs are different. For example, this VM with 4 CPUs and 28 GB of RAM, it is $341. VM, and then there are these other VMs too, memory optimized general purpose VMs for general purpose. Then there are compute optimized VMs as well. So compute optimized for those servers that requires more compute resources. So there are different families of VM, and we will discuss them within the slide. Actually, it's right here. Actually, it's not. So I'm going to go back to. I am going to go back to the create VM screen. So within the create VM screen, everyone, I will provide as admin, and I am providing the password. Guys, remember to have this password. Most of the time you go with your own password. Password and you forget it, and there is no way you can bring it back. So, but there is a way that takes hours and hours to bring a password back. We won't go into that at the moment. So let's keep it simple. Use password 1234 1234 because of the complexity requirement. This is why I'm saying P capital password 1234 so that we can remember. Here I will keep the RDP port open. I will keep the RDP port open. I don't need a license. Now we can jump onto the disk. When it comes to a disk, guys, there are two types of disks available. Actually, three types. Basically, two types of disks available. Number one, standard disk and standard SSD and premium SSD. So standard at HDD disk, which is a standard disk, this is used for dev and test purposes. This is the slowest disk available. This is the slowest disk and cheapest disk. So if you select a standard disk, then there won't be a cost for this disk. I mean, so here it's saying the selected VM size support premium disk. We recommend that premium SSD for high IOPS and workload. So it's saying that the type of size, the size you have selected in the previous screen, with that premium disk is recommended. So, but I'm selecting standard disk because this is all our dev and test environment. The other VM we created, it automatically selected a premium disk for us. So premium disks are more faster and more costly, whereas standard disk is cheaper and it's for dev and test environment. Whereas premium and both SSD disks. So there is SSD disk. We know all of us know what SSD is a disk that is much faster than HDD. HDD are older mechanical drives, whereas SSDs are more sophisticated, all chip-based drives. So these are very fast drive, and there is a huge big difference between even the price and the speed. So both of these will cost more will cost less. In this case, I will select just standard HDD. But one thumb rule we need to remember that SSD, standard HDD is used for dev and test environment, whereas standard SSD and premium SSD will be used for, the production environment. Ashar is asking a question, which VM size did I selected? I think I selected this time. So here on the screen, I selected DS1 underscore V2, standard DS1 under V2. You can select any size. I'm just looking at the price, and for the, I'm getting just the kind of server that is used for, just used for the test environment. So here we can say the standard. So thumb rule for remembering the disk is standard HDD for test and dev environment. All the production servers must go with the premium disk. So they all go with the premium disk here. Second one, do you need to encrypt the do you need encryption on the disk? Here by default encryption address with the platform managed keys. So which means that as soon as on the server disks are encrypted, on the server disks are encrypted, but these are not the encryption. This is a default encryption available, but you can go with the encryption as well with the custom managed keys. Later on, once we discuss the key vault and work with the key vault, we will create a key and then keep it in the key vault as well. For now, we'll go with the default encryption. But guys, remember this encryption is free, but it is not fully encrypted. It's not fully encrypted. You need to get the service separately for enable ultra compatibility or with full encryption. Here you can add data disk. Here you can add a second data disk. For now, it only comes with one OS disk. Remember, here we said as soon as you create a VM, an OS disk is created. So one disk is created. Remember now this disk is we created as HDD. So for one VM it is HDD. The other VM, since we created by default, that is SSD. So the other disk was premium and SSD. This is standard and HDD. So and now it's asking that do you want to create a data disk, separate data disk? So here I'm gonna go with where is it? Here it is. So here, if you need to create a second disk, we can create a second disk, but for now we're not creating any disk. We're just keeping it simple at the moment. Later on, we will add another disk as well. So in the networking, we have virtual networks. Virtual network. For networking, guys, there is a full chapter on network. We will discuss what is network, what is subnet, what is public IP address. So here, and what is a network security group? This is a firewall setting. This is a port setting that we remember we said that we need at least one port open, RDP. So this we will discuss in the networking section, but this is basically the virtual network name. This is the subnet where the VM will be residing, and this is the public IP address with which we can access the VM now from home, from here. Next one is management. In the management, we have that Azure Security Center provides uniform security management. So this will give us the basic security for this VM, and also this subscription is protected by the Security Center basic plan. Yes, there is a basic plan and there is an advanced plan for security. So security advanced plan is paid. Basic plan is just gives you a simple score. It will check the simple server requirement that if it doesn't have any viruses or ports open, it will give us those recommendations. Boot diagnostics is on. This is the basic monitoring. Remember here we said that VMs have basic monitoring. This basic monitoring, it basically refers to this option. This option, which is boot diagnostic, which is this one. So this one is free, but if you select this option, which is OS guest diagnostic, then this will be paid. This is advanced diagnostic. So you are adding this. So here we are just keeping it off. We don't need this option at the moment. And here is the storage account, where the OS disk will be sitting. So the storage account, diagnostic storage account name, I think this is the main storage account as well. We can check that in the resources. Here we have identity, which is system assigned managed identity. It is off. This is like a service account that we need to give. For now, we're not using it. We're keeping it off. And here, if this is, let's say it's a test dev machine. If it is a test dev machine, everyone, if it is a test dev machine, then on this, this option is for enable auto shutdown. So for example, I don't need this machine after 7 p.m. You can switch it on, and you can provide a schedule that when this should be automatically shut down. Sorry. I will go back to auto shutdown. This, you can provide the auto shutdown. Here it is automatically selecting it for us. But if you don't want it to be shut down at all time, you can just switch it off. You can just switch it off. This is just to save cost on dev and test, especially for test environments. Because test servers are not required most of the time, all the time. We can just shut them. We can just shut them down. And notification before shutting down, yes, it will be sent to this email address. So this email address it will be sent to, and here it is saying enable backup. So on the slide here we discussed about the backup. If we enable this service, then it will use this service and then we'll save it in the recovery services vault, recovery vault. And I will go back here and show you that enable. So it is off. But if you switch it on, then we need to create a service vault account as well. And this will be charged. So this will be charged. It will create that extra storage where we keep the VM. It will create that extra storage where we keep the VM. For now, we are going to switch it off, and we don't need backup at the moment. I will go to advanced, and in the advanced, here is the extension part. So from our slide, here is now this part. So VM and different type of extensions. So this extension is right here. We'll jump onto this. And in the extension, it's saying, okay, select an extension to install. If you select it, then it will give us all of the extensions that are available. So agent for cloud workload, agent for Windows Server monitoring. Then we have many different type of extension, and some extensions are paid, and there are hundreds and hundreds of agents available here. So depending on whatever agent you need, and even when you get a new backup service from outside, let's say there are other companies like Veeam Backup. So this is a huge big company that provides a backup for cloud. So when you get a backup service from these companies, you won't find an extension there, but they will provide you extension that will be part of your cloud extensions as well. Okay. So in this, we can select agent, but for now we're not selecting anyone. If you select here, then it might cost you as well. So for example, let's say if I select this one, let's say here it would give me a price. Yes, here it is a buying option. First you need to buy it and then create an extension. So for now we are going back. We're not creating any extension, and this is the place where you can run a script. This is a place where you can run a script. Let's say you want something something to be done as soon as the server is up. Here it says pass a script, configuration file, or other data into the virtual machine while it is being provisioned. The data will be saved on the VM in the known location. So basically, this is a startup script. So some servers have startup script where companies have their script that checks that if the server has antivirus, server is compliant and all that. So here we can run those scripts. So here whatever command you give, that command will be run as soon as the server starts. So this is a startup script location. Then we have host, dedicated host. We have host groups here. We have VM generations. What type of VM you need? Gen 1, Gen 2. So in the host group, everyone, and we will be going for a quick break for 5 minutes. How much time do we have though? Okay, we have around 40 minutes. So just we'll provision this VM and then we can take 5 minutes break, everyone. So here, host group, guys, host group. So this basically, this option, this host group option is a dedicated host option. So for example, this VM is a very, very important VM for your organization. This VM is very, very important VM for your organization. You don't want it to be hosted with other servers. So let's say in the rack, there are in the data center and in the rack, there are, let's say, how many servers? There are many servers. So I'll go here just to explain. Okay, that's bad. So my mouse, I cannot see the pointer. Okay, now I can see the pointer. Okay, so what is a host group and what is a dedicated host? Now we are trying to understand. After advanced, where do we go? After advanced, where do we go? Yes, hold on. So let me view 20 Riaz. I think you're Riaz. So yes, I will come back to that screen. Just a second. Umar is asking a question. Can you guide me on subscription? I had connectivity issues last night. I missed that part. No problem. No problem. Umar, I will guide you with this. Just give me a moment on this. Umar, you didn't got the presentation, the step-by-step lab. So I will provide you with the step-by-step lab in a moment, and I will help you with the subscription actually. So you just need to create an account. Once your account is created, then you can create a subscription. But don't worry, I'll help you with this. So here, guys, we have dedicated host. So something called dedicated host. Guys, dedicated host simply means is this. So normally, what is the Azure data center? So we have Azure, then we have regions, remember, and then under the region we have availability zones. Under the availability zones we have data center. Under data center we have cluster, and then under cluster we have that complete rack which has fabric controller, and then we have servers. Remember, right? So we have servers and all that. What are we trying to understand? Dedicated host. So once you created a VM, so I as admin, I created a VM from the portal. Guys, again, one more time, what are we trying to understand? Just bear with me. I know it's a long session, long class, but I will try to make it more and more simple. We will be going for a quick break here. Maybe we can continue. No, we can go for a break. So here, guys, so what are we trying to understand? Dedicated host. It's a very simple concept, guys. So user logs into the web portal and then issues a command. Orchestrator will send a message to the Fabric controller, and Fabric controller creates the VM in here. So VM is created either here, either here. This is not our selection. This is Microsoft selection, and they will create the VM. But guys, some VMs are so important for some organization. Let's say this VM is so important for the organization eBay, or maybe it is so important for the Walmart VM, and it's so important that they're saying do not mix up with other VMs. Do not mix up. Do not host it on the server that has other VMs. So they buy the complete hardware server. They buy a complete dedicated host. So they buy a complete dedicated host, everyone, and that dedicated host will cost them a price. Then they will be the owner of this host. So on this host, there won't be any other VMs other than this company's VM. This is known as dedicated host. So normally, if you don't go with this option, then Microsoft will provide you high availability. Microsoft will provide you 3 copies of the same server. Microsoft will provide you availability set, availability groups, and scale out and scale up and auto scaling, all those options Microsoft will provide you. But with dedicated host, you will pay an extra price, and you will get the full access to that host. So this is the dedicated host. If I select this dedicated host now, I need to buy it. So I need to go out. I need to go in the dedicated host section. Then I will buy that. Then I will see these different options here. So Riaz asked a question after advanced. We didn't go anything. I'm still on the advanced screen, and dedicated hosts, we don't have it. But remember, dedicated hosts are only for those organizations that have more money, that have not even more money. Actually, they need a dedicated hardware for their VM. Most of the time, my experience is most of the companies won't go with this option because this option is very expensive. Second thing, Gen 1, Gen 2. Gen 1 and Gen 2 is just that which generation of VMs which generations of VM you are creating. But with Generation 2, VM do not support some Azure platform features like Azure disk encryption. So the newer generation is this, and with this you can provide you use Azure disk encryption. But then you might say that if I have some VMs Gen 1 and some VMs Gen 2, can they both communicate? Is there any issues with that? No, there won't be any issues. It's just that it is a newer generation VM, and it will give you more features on this. But then you would say, then why is it one gen is even available? So if Gen 2 is there, then they should have even give us this option. Guys, this option is only for backward compatibility. It is for backward compatibility. Let's say you have some older applications and they are already on Gen 1, and those application does not support Gen 2, then you're actually bind with Gen 1. That is why this is just for older, this is just for backward compatibility. So for now, here we will go with Gen 2. So Riyaz is saying, how can I get the host? So we're not getting any host, Riyaz. This option, we need to buy that host outside the VM creation process, and then we will come back. But this host option is basically for dedicated hosts. We're not using it at the moment. So we don't need to use anything in there. Last option is tags. Guys, tag is just a simple label for the server. Just a simple label for the server, just to label these servers. Like I want to label this server, so I know that the server is in the resource group of IT department, and I want to label the server as IT department. For example, I would say my department is IT. So this label will basically is only used for reporting purposes. So if I use this label and if I click it, later on when I create a report and saying that in IT department how many servers I have or how many resources I have, it will just, this tags are just used for reporting purposes. This is exactly the same tag that you see in the market. So tag is the price tag, just to show you the price. This tag is just us that this VM belongs to the IT department. So here, and then I will create this VM, and in a moment the VM will be, it is validating it, and then remember to click the create button. Remember to click the create button, everyone, and the VM will be created. Excellent, everyone. So let's take a 5 minutes break here, and then we will log into the VM, and then we'll quickly review everything what we have learned today, and then we will call it a night. Okay. Excellent, guys. Thank you so much. No, actually not. Actually, thank you so much. Thank you all the time, but it's not the end. You know, the end of the lecture. It's just a 5 minutes break, everyone.
Hello, Adnan.
Yes, I'm here.
Quick question. So you were going over the host services. I'm not able to see those in my advanced.
You're not able to see the host services, which means the dedicated host.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is your region? What was the region you selected? Maybe it's
So
not available in your region.
I chose West 1 or just West.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so if you don't see a service, it's like that it's not available in there,
Oh,
in the data center.
okay, thank you.
Okay. So Umar, if you're online, if you're not taking a break, maybe I can quickly look at your screen for the subscription. Okay. So Umar, yes, you can share with me TeamViewer. Do you have TeamViewer or you can click on share your screen. Maybe we can try sharing the screen. So right at the top of in this chat window, there is the biggest circle. You can just click on the circle and then your screen will be shared. If you're on the same screen as where the meeting is. Okay, Atif. Okay, Atif Umar.
जारिश ने मैसेज आया वहाँ पे रुको अनम्यूट होगा I'm using two laptops. I don't have TeamViewer
Okay.
in my
Yes. So so let's do a TeamViewer. You want to do a TeamViewer?
Actually, I'm on the subscription page. I just want to know like what to select. Is it Azure for students?
No, it's free. Free. Do you have anything like a free subscription option?
I clicked on subscription and I need to add, right? First, I need to add a subscription there or apply.
Yes, you need to. No, you need to add a subscription and select a free subscription and then just move with the wizard.
Yeah, when I click on add, only the Azure for students, the button is enabled. For other, it's grayed out.
Okay. What are the other options?
It's free trial, pay as you go, and the third one is Azure for students.
Yes. And the free trial is not. It's grayed out.
Yes.
Okay, so I think it is grayed out because it might be that your user ID used before. Have you ever created an Azure account with this?
No.
Or with the phone number, with the credit card information? Or this is the first time you're creating an Azure account?
This is the first time. Yeah.
Okay, so probably there is something wrong with the account. You need to recreate another account.
Okay, I'll try that and I will let you know then.
Okay. And you received, right, you received the step-by-step instruction, or should I share with you again? The account creation and subscription.
No, I haven't seen that. I missed that actually.
Okay, no problem. So if you're not part of the WhatsApp group, I will just share your number and phone number. Have you spoken to Amin Bhai before?
Yeah, today morning I spoke to him.
Okay, just ask him to add you to the WhatsApp group because it's there. And I will share the drive as well.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, okay everyone, and welcome back after the break. We are right at the end of the now. So Atif is saying he was trying to share the screen. Excellent, very good. Yes, Atif is saying that Omar, create a new account. If you're stuck, just let us know. We are all here to help as well. Okay. So guys, just before the break, thank you, Riaz, for the attendance after the break, guys. Automatically, if you're here after the break, please say yes, I'm available, or yes. And so first question, Hassan is asking a question. Can you please send me the step-by-step account creation? Okay, yes, for sure. Hassan, just make sure that you're in the WhatsApp group. If you've spoken to Amin Bhai, just ask him to add you to the WhatsApp group, number one. And we will be creating a Google Drive as well for this. So it will be one place for everyone. So not only in the WhatsApp group, it will be a Google Drive for the notes, for the videos, and for everything, for all of the resources. So Atif, yes, you can ask a question. Okay. So maybe you're mute, Atif. Would we get more labs like to work during the week? Yes, for sure. Why not? I will make you all busy with Azure. No, just kidding. Yes, there are labs you need to do. You need to complete some labs on your own as well, guys. As you can see, the technology is not that there are so many things in this technology, and at the end of this lecture, at the end of this training, we want to be an expert. So I'm trying to cover that from all angles. So the commitment for this training is that you need to spend 4 hours with me, and 8 hours actually in this training for 2 days, and then 8 hours at home. So 16 hours a week, if you are able to spend, will definitely become expert. So in that 8 hours, I will provide you the labs. So there are 2 resources for the lab. Number one will be this video, which is this one, and then the second one, I have videos that I've created for the lab as well. You need to follow them and then create the lab and then send me the screenshot. Okay, so let's take an advantage of this time, everyone, and then the more practical, the better it is, and the concepts we already understand. So right here, I can see 2 VMs. So my first stop as Azure admin, is that I will always go to resources. I will always go to my resources and see how many resources I have. So the resources I can see here, I can see now so many resources being created for 2 VMs. So VMs we have created, we can sort by type. I can sort by type here, and then if I sort by type, there are 2 disks for 2 VMs. One disk is for 1 VM, the second disk is for second VM. I have 2 network interface card, 2 network security groups. And what is a security group? Security group is nothing but a firewall. So Hassan asked a question, why do we need to create different VMs? Can't we create one VM and under this VM we can create sub VMs? And yes, so it's a good question. Hassan, we create different VMs because there is a requirement based on the requirement of the organization. Based on the requirement of the organization, let's say if it is a small clinic, they have one server. They just need one server for a small clinic, and that in that one server they have the doctor's application, so they need one server. But in the large organizations, you have a requirement of creating 10 servers, one server for call center, one server for marketing, one server for another. So that is why we create a number of different servers. Actually, those are computers that we create. So this is why we create many different VMs. So guys, if this is, for all of us, most of us, this is the first time we are on Azure portal. Always remember that in Azure portal, it will be, on a heavy Azure portal, I would say a heavily configured Azure portal, you will see hundreds and even thousands of services here. So what is the best way to navigate in this? The best way to navigate in this, always start from home. And from home, always you can if you're logged into the portal to manage a VM, you can just directly log in, go to the VMs, and here it will show you only the VMs. So in this, it's only showing me the VM, but in all resources, it shows me everything. So if if I'm interested only in the storage account, I can go to the storage account, and within the storage account, it would show me only two storage account, one storage account for the PowerShell, the other storage account for the VM. So for the VM, this is for the VM where my VM is sitting, which is Canada Central, and this was the PowerShell account that I created earlier. So in both cases, we can go from here. I can go to all resources and go to the VM. So for now, let's go to the VM and try logging into the VM. How do you log into the VM? We can go to the VM. We can go to the VM here, and within the VM, I will log into the first VM now. So the first VM, in order to log into the first VM, you click on the VM, and as soon as you click on the VM, basically it gives you the VM settings here. So it gives you overview, it gives you activity log, and we will go through this as well, networking, connect, and this. But for now, my first stop is right here to connect to the VM. And here it gives me more information about this VM. For example, this VM has server 2016. This VM size is B2S, 2 vCPU and 4 GB of memory. And this VM's public IP address is this. And this VM is basically part of this virtual network. We will cover that in networking chapter. But for now, here it is giving us that basic information. Okay, so the things that we created. Now, in order to connect to the VM, just click on connect. So guys, everyone, just click on connect. As soon as, and other than connect, you can restart the VM, you can stop the VM, you can capture the screen of the VM, you can delete the VM, you can refresh a VM, or you can share it to a mobile. You can share this link to a mobile phone, and then you can access the VM from there. But here we are selecting connect. And in the connect, just do RDP. Always remember that SSH is for Linux VM, and this is the jump host. So later on, we will look at this. But for now, let's just RDP into the VM. RDP simply means remote desktop option. This is the remote desktop option for the for this VM. I think RDP is for remote desktop prompt or something. But here, let's click on RDP. So you will click on connect and then click on RDP. So as soon as you click on connect and RDP, all you need to do here, it gives you this information, and on this, just say download RDP. So once you download RDP, it will give you, it will save this file. It will save this file, and once you save it, it comes right here. So once you save it, it comes right here. One more time, you click on connect, then you click on RDP, and then download the file, and then here it will give you this. And now in here, it will ask you for the username and password of this server. So it is asking you this screen that you are about to connect to this VM in Azure. So you're from your home, you're about to connect to the VM. And in this, you can just say connect. And once you are connected, it will ask you for the username and password. It will ask you for the username and password. And here you will click on more options, more choices, and within more choices you will need to use different name. Here you need to say use different name. So one more time, I'm going to come back, I'm going to repeat that one more time here. So I am in the VM settings, and I'm in the overview screen, and within the overview screen I go to connect. And within the connect, I need to go to RDP, and within RDP, I will go to, I will download this file one more time. I'm downloading. You can download this as many times as you like. So I'm downloading it again, because the previous one is shown here, and I can save it. So here, once the RDP file is here, I can click on this. And then it will ask me for the screen. I will connect, and while connecting, it will provide me the credentials to use. So here we can use different credentials, and here you will use that username and password that we used. So the username that I used was passadmin, and the password was 1234. Password 1234. So the password is password P capital, password 1234. So now I am about to log in. So once you are trying to log in, it will give you this warning screen. It will give you this warning screen. This is fine, and then you can press yes. And then it will try to connect, and it will let you connect to the machine. Yay, bravo. So you have created a VM, and then you are connected to Server 2016 on Azure. So this is Server 2016 on Azure. This is basically the goal of this exercise. Guys, take 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes and open the other server as well. So leave this server on. So I will leave it on as well. It is. And now let's connect to the other VM as well. So you can either click here. You can either click here on this VM on the previous screen, or you can start again. Guys, starting again is not an issue. Go back to virtual machine, and within the virtual machine again. So if you're confused in anywhere in the screen, guys, thumb rule, go back to home, then start again from virtual machine. Then from the virtual machine, go to basically the VM. So now we are about to connect to the second VM. So second VM, and then you click on second VM. Again, we need to connect an RD, and we will download the RDP file, and then it will save it in your machine. It's just a 1 KB file, so don't worry about this. It won't take much space on your disk. And here it is connecting, so same procedure, and you are connected. So here we will provide more choices, use different account, and so guys, how many of you are able to connect? How many of you are able to connect to the first machine and second machine? Please let me know in the chat window. Please let me know in the chat window. Able to connect to both machines or one machine. So here now I am connected to both machines. So this is machine number 1 and machine number 2. So this is server number 1 and server number 2. So we have created 2 machines. Amjad is saying I'm able to connect. Very good. Atif is able to connect. And others, please let me know that where are you connected. So if you're able to connect to this, if you're able to connect, then basically Riyadh is saying you're stuck at basics. Basics means you're stuck at the basic VM creation machine, or where? Okay, shall we delete once done? Yes, yes. Asif, we need to delete all resources once done. Okay. Yes. Pay as you go, meaning very good. If you're on pay as you go, Atif, it's fine. As long as you delete them in few hours, they won't get charged. So yes, just take a picture for me, for the instructor, to be shared on the WhatsApp group. I need to see that this lab is completed by everyone. So connected to VM1. If you're even connected to VM1 or VM2 or both VMs, it is fine. So I'm gonna just close these screens. So just close them. Now, how do you delete them? So Riaz, don't worry, I will help you with this. If you're stuck in the basics, it's okay. Whoever is stuck, just let me know. We can do that. We can spend like 10 minutes after this lecture, and then we'll fix wherever you're stuck. Okay. So guys, now in order to clean up, print screen from the Azure portal would be fine. Excellent. Yes. So print screen from the Azure portal. Next time, just you need to basically take a screenshot from you're taking a screenshot with the machine open. Okay. So So guys, now let's see how to clean that up, how to not get charged. So all you need to do is go to all resources. Everyone, all you need to do, you need to go to all resources, and then once you're in all resources, just select the name, click on the name, and it will select all the resources here. There are some of the resources that are charged, there are some resources that are free, so you need to select all resources. So one more time, in order to clean everything up, all you need to do, go to all resources, and then click on name. It will select everything, then click on now delete. Once you select delete, it will ask you for a confirmation, and you need to type delete and then delete. So guys, this delete of all resources does two things. Number one, clean up all of the Azure, number one. And number two, if you do that in production, it will take your job as well. So it is that clean that it will clean up your job as well, because it will delete everything within the environment. It will delete everything. What we just did is actually deleted everything within the environment. So don't try that at work. As they say, don't try that at home. I'm saying that don't try that at work, because it will definitely take your job. But I mean, it's not that simple at work, because if you're the enterprise admin, then you will be able to do all this. If you're not an enterprise admin, and most of the time the top admin or owner is not the account that is shared with everyone, so you won't be, but you still will have, at being a Azure admin, you still will have some access. So with that access, if you delete or delete anything, that will cost your job. So for now, it is just taking time. And make sure, guys, just spend some time with this. Make sure that all resources are deleted. Sometimes one or two resources are left just because of some other dependencies, some other resources are there. So if any other thing after 5 minutes is left, here in the notification it's showing you this, and if something is left, then you can go back and select and then delete again. Okay. So guys, in today's lecture, we discussed a very important part of Azure Cloud, which is compute resource. In previous lecture, we understood the cloud, the computing models, PaaS, SaaS, and IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, and then also discussed public cloud, and we also discussed the public cloud and private cloud and hybrid cloud. And then we are in Azure, we discussed subscriptions, we discussed regions, we get to know the architecture of infrastructure. And today was a very important lecture about a compute building block for compute resources. We will learn more on this as well as we go on. So we will learn more on this. Ashar is saying, when we delete, do we leave the default cloud shell? No, delete everything. Delete the cloud shell as well. We will use the cloud shell later on, and we will recreate it again. So it doesn't take much time. It's a good question, everyone. So the one thing that will be left will be the cloud shell. So delete the cloud shell as well. So today we discussed, guys, the compute building blocks, just in a nutshell, in a very small type of explanation, in a brief summary. The VM has three types of offering: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and serverless service. In infrastructure as a service, when you create a VM, the very first thing what happens is it creates the OS disk. That OS disk goes into the storage account, and then within the VM we can create different extension, antivirus extension, and diagnostic and other stuff as well. And within the VMs can be monitored. Azure provides us this basic monitoring feature, which is free, and there is advanced monitoring, which is paid. We can select the advanced monitoring as well. When the VM is, we can take a backup of the the backup service is free, but the recovery vault where it saves the backup is not free. We can enable backups on the VMs as well. Backups can be scheduled on different timing or every day. Then VMs have another option called site recovery. Azure Site Recovery is another name for data, for DR. So this is DR, disaster recovery. And remember that the live image of this VM will be stored here. The live image of the VM will be stored here, with which we can make the VM. Then once the VM, these are all of the supporting services of the VM, but for high availability, Microsoft provides VM scale sets and availability sets, and then auto scaling. We had discussions on this. We will describe containers in more detail. Once you have a VM, then we can connect them to the network interface, and then we have platform as a service for app service, cloud service, and service fabric. There is a full chapter on this. VMs can also be automated. Their installation can be completely automated with functions or Azure Automation as well. This is more newer option. This is older option where you have predefined scripts are available. You can use those scripts, or you can make your own scripts as well. Logic App is a complete workflow where you can send emails, get authorization, and then follow the function, or you can directly run the function without the Logic App as well. And then there is Security Center, Active Directory, and Key Vault, and these all services. So guys, the homework for the next 5 days. Guys, the homework for the next 5 days is this. Please do not go at the just 2 more minutes here. So this website, guys, since please, we all need to try to understand that you can see in 4 hours we learned a lot. We learned a lot in this, and these are all very important things. So at home, please review the notes. Review your notes and send me a picture of the notes that you have taken. Plus, this is the lab that we need to do. So you need to go onto this link. This is this link, and I'm sharing this here. So guys, this is the homework for the next 5 days. So this is the link that I shared. You need to go into the playlist, and within the playlist, you need to go to Azure Hands-on Labs. So this one, Azure Hands-on Labs, and here within this lab, you already completed this one. First of all, I think the first 1 or 2 videos, voice might be distorted. It's fine, guys. Sorry about that in advance. But it is very important that you complete these labs. So this portal, that when I made it, it's a bit different from the previous one, but most of the options are same. So what you need to do is you need to complete video 1, and I will try to make the newer videos as well on this. You need to complete video 1, 2, and 3. Video 1, 2, and 3, and 4 and 5. Did I say 4 and 5? So yes, try to complete 5 videos, but at least complete the first 3 videos. Okay, at least complete the first 3 videos as a homework. I've shared that within the link, and please take this this homework seriously. I know everybody's busy. I'm busy. You're busy. We're busy with work as well. But at the same time, without practice, you won't be anywhere. So without practice, there won't be. It won't be understandable. You won't be able to understand other components, how they work. Next week we will learn more stuff, and then there will be more stuff. So take advantage of this 5 days. Okay. So guys. Last 1 minute. I will be here for 10 more minutes. If anyone has any questions, any doubts about this, I'm glad I will help you out with this. With the lab video is there. This lecture video will be there as well. You can go back to the video, and then you can, the good thing about the video, you can go forward, backward, pause, and you can again go through this. So review everything. And if possible, explain this screen to one other person. If you need to become an expert of this, explain this screen to one other person, you will master it, guys. Trust me, teaching others will basically, you can learn from trainings, but you can master it by teaching it to others. Oops, I gave the presentation role to Hassan right at the end, and Hassan, I can get it back, or if you want to share anything. Thank you, everyone. This is all for today. And if you have any questions at all, let me know. We will finish that in due course of time, but we need to remember this next week with new services and new questions and new stuff. Thank you, everyone.